Welcome all. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome everyone. Let's see, we have a pretty good audience here today. We have Clerk Colon. I see Sheriff Ward in the background. Treasurer Barnes. We have some distinguished members from the VFW. Very, very glad to have you here. Also parole and probation, Mr. Denny. To my far left, Director Rickert. I understand Commissioner Pash will be here shortly. Myself, Court Boyce. To my right, Commissioner John Herzog, Counsel John Huddle. To his right, Staff Jesuit. So, line of casualty report. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence here in just a moment. In less than 10 days, we've lost 18 total people between Atlanta, Georgia, and Boulder, Colorado. Senseless murders. Each one of those people that have been killed, each one affects hundreds of people that have to deal with that for the rest of their life. Family members, friends, neighbors, associates. Senseless killings. Hurts our country tremendously. So I'm going to ask everyone for a moment of silence here, please. Thank you. Thank you again. I'm looking for a mouse there. I think my arms are long enough. Bingo. Sometimes people send us things through email that are really special, and this will take 3 minutes, but I think everyone here will appreciate it, enjoy it. It was sent to Commissioner Pash and myself just a few days ago.
I have no idea. Do you want it on outside or not? Yeah. Okay, then yeah, I think.
You gonna salute?
You bet.
And the first time I saw it, I was warned that I would tear up, and I did. And I'll watch it again. I'll make sure all my grandkids watch it as well. Welcome back, Commissioner. We're glad to have you here. My grandchildren are in Canada, so it might be a while before I can get up there. Affected you, didn't it? Love you, buddy. Wow. Wow. Line of duty deaths. Some of you probably heard or recall the story of Jesse Matson, Tampa Bay police officer. An individual was going at a high rate of speed on a one-way street. He pulled his car. He saw him coming, pulled his car in front of the oncoming traffic, and it killed him. We all think we can make those kind of sacrifices, but you never know. You never know for sure, but he did. One of the heroes of the Boulder, Colorado shooting just a couple of days ago was one of the first ones to die. He had 7 kids, 7 children. His youngest was 5. Thank you again for that moment of silence. I'm going to give a quick COVID report, and then we'll move on to agenda amendments. Yes, Curry County had the highest week we've had so far at 38. However, a good portion of those are from South County, and that was no offense to our Delaware County neighbors, but a lot of those came from Pelican Bay. I was on Medford News last night and was able to make that point. And you know, our county, I got a note from the sheriff the other day, 2 days ago. We're going to stand strong together. Our businesses are suffering, and again, they've done absolutely everything that we've asked them to do, and then some. We're moving our county sanctuary effort forward to protect them. Back to the 38 number that we had. All intents and purposes, none of those came from our restaurants or small businesses. And the data just keeps stacking up that it's not reliable to close. A lot of states have not done that, have not closed their businesses. And those people need to be recognized, and we need to support them. We need to remain, of course, very, very diligent on our responsibilities to keep wearing masks, to keep our distancing, learn all we can. The vaccination program, I give Oregon high marks. And that's working us towards herd immunity. Thank you, Sheriff, for the letter. And as I said, I'm going to stand strong, and I'm not sure what that means, what's going to happen on Friday. But our people really need us, and the county really needs to unite together. I know that might offend some people, but these businesses, they may not be able to come back, unlikely to come back if they have to shut down again. So thank you for that little extra time there. Commissioner Herzog, any amendment changes or?
No, sir.
I have a couple, thank you. On the minutes of consent agenda 6A, by the way, we have 14 consent items. That's about the maximum I think we want to have, even though it's been 3 weeks since our last meeting. So I want to pull that, just have a quick discussion if I may. Item 6K I want to pull, I just have a couple comments there. And I think on item 6L, letter of support regarding House Bill 3173, I believe the Economic Development Coordinator Madison might want to speak on that just a little bit. So Director Ricker, we may not pull that. I'll kind of leave that up to you and just see if, as we get closer to that time, if it's going to be necessary. I'd also like to move discussion action item 8E, proclamation, Gold Beach VFW Hall 3349. Could we move that to a presentation, Commissioner Herzog? And we've got a lot of fellows here that are in support of that, and that's something that I think is really, really important to all of us. And then the last one I have, No, that's it. Excuse me, one more. I'm going to add, under item 13, other, Linda Maxon from North County Coast Community Health is going to have a quick presentation, and that's not an action item, and she'll be scheduled to call in late this afternoon after we have our executive session and our workshop, so it's going to be quite a day. We can look forward to some good production here. So I'm looking for a motion, Commissioner Herzog, to, was there something else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean, oh.
If I could, Mr. Chair, sure. For executive session, add item 660 to H, which is to discuss litigation or litigation likely to be filed. So just to talk about a couple things.
Great, so we'll include that in the collective series of agenda amendments. Anything else? I'm sorry, I'll overlook you too.
Oh, you're just fine.
My apologies.
I just wanted clarification. You wanted to pull item 6A and 6K, or did you want to move those to action item?
No, I think I just have a quick, let's pull those for now,
To dis- to
and
discuss?
just real quick discussion on that.
Yeah, okay, so
Action item.
so
Discussion
move
action
them
item.
to the next
Okay,
category down.
Okay. And then 6L, he said Summer Madison might want to speak to that, so we should move that too then. Unless she doesn't want to say anything, then we'll leave it as is.
yeah, it's pretty simple. I think I'll pull that, I think I'll disregard that one. She can still come in and we can recognize her if she wants to speak on that.
Okay.
So that's a good catch, thank you.
So I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
We'll approve the agenda as amended, and then,
I think that's what you said.
well, he said consent agenda as amended.
Yeah, no, you're right, I'm sorry.
That's not what we're,
Well, you're making changes to the entire agenda now, so
Okay.
then we approve the agenda, and then when we get to item 6, you would approve the consent agenda.
what he said.
I'm going to second that motion, I think we understood.
JJ, do you get it? No. Okay, so I think there was a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Got that.
Okay, good.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes?
Chair Boyce.
Yes, thank you. By the way, John Jesuit, thank you for making that veterans clip easy to follow there. Really appreciate that. So item on agenda number 4, I think we are ready for public comments. And right now, I think we just have one. Gordon Clay, welcome always, Gordon. And also I wanted to recognize Sam Vitale and Don Bemis, and of course Bob Ostrowski, who's worked very diligently over a 2-3 year period there on the budget committee and as part of the VFW. And I didn't mean to leave out Mr. Heisman. Welcome all. And in the back there, could you identify yourself for us, please? Thanks for being here. Thank you, Mark. Gordon Clay, always good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here. For the record, my name is Gordon Clay from Brookings, Oregon. 2 weeks before the last commissioners meeting, 54 Curry County citizens tested positive for COVID. That's 3.9 a day. The chair read a strong letter to the governor. The Gold Beach school superintendent informed you that Curry County was the only red school county in the state regarding COVID. That's not a good thing. I ask that you give the citizens as strong a message as you did the governor, and then the next county official removed their mask and said, I quote, "The state putting us up into the extreme risk category is absolutely ridiculous. We're not shutting down our county," unquote. Consequences. In the next 2 weeks, 60 citizens tested positive, up to 4.3 a day, and 1 death. And in the last 6 days, 38 citizens or 6 a day have tested positive, for a total of 149 citizens in 34 days. That is 28% of the total number of citizens in this county that have tested positive since this pandemic started. 28% in 5 weeks. The result, we joined Coos County as the only 2 counties in Oregon that will occupy the extreme risk category starting Friday for at least the next 2 weeks. So what's the big deal? On March 1, the Harvard Medical School, and I hope you pass that sheet out, John, published a report that gives this scenario. Suppose you have tested positive for COVID. You take the medical advice and isolate at home for a couple of weeks. You begin to turn the corner. Every day, your worst symptoms, the fever, the terrible cough, the breathlessness, the taste of the smell, they get a little better. You're winning, beating a life-threatening disease, and you no longer wonder if each day will be your last. In another week or 2, you'll be your old self. But weeks pass, and while the worst symptoms are gone, you're not your old self, not even close. You have body aches, little energy, shortness of breath, difficulty concentrating, headaches, or difficulty sleeping. Your brain feels like it's in a fog. Your doctor congratulates you on the virus no longer being detected in your body. You should be feeling fine, but you're not. The doctor suggests maybe it's the experience of being ill with COVID-19 has left you a little depressed or experiencing a little PSTD. Maybe some psychiatric treatment will help since there's nothing wrong with you physically, he says, or she. You try the treatment and it doesn't help. Well, the report that it passed out from Harvard Medical School and other published studies and surveys conducted by patient groups indicate that 50 to 80% of all patients that contract COVID have bothersome symptoms 3 months after the onset of COVID. And I know 3 people in this county that still have those symptoms, and it's been at least 3 months. Even after tests no longer detect the virus in your body. Since COVID is a new disease, we have little information on long-term recovery rates. I've gathered lots of videos and information on what is being called long haulers at www.zeroattempts.org/coronavirus.html #KEEP. I hope all county officials get serious and realize your statements have consequences. The longer we play this game with the virus, the potential that more dangerous variations will develop. My question is, what is county health doing to inform citizens of this long hauler phenomena? It's going to be a big health crisis. And you at home, check in with your friends who have tested positive to see how they are doing. They might not realize that they might be long haulers. You want your kids to go back to school, this in-school learning. You want to get businesses open without limits. Wear a mask that stays over your nose without touching it, and get vaccinated. Our future is in your hands.
Gordon, always thank you. Hang on one moment, please.
Yeah.
I thought you said just 23%?
28%
Okay,
of
I'm sorry.
total infections from COVID that have been listed in this county happened in the last 5 weeks. We've had 522. In the last 5 weeks, we've
That's
had
correct.
149. And it's playing a game. And as long as this thing lasts, more dangerous ones, that I think the Brazilian one now has 30% of the infections in the country. The new one, and that's tougher. It infects faster, it's more contagious, and it's more dangerous. And if we get one that goes past the vaccinations we have right now, the longer we play with this thing, and I'm not going to look at anybody, but there are at least 7 people in this room that are not covering their nose. And if you're breathing through your nose, everything's going in and out of your system. It doesn't do any good to cover your mouth if you breathe through your nose.
Gordon, just come back real quick to your statistics there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what your education is, but I've pretty much accepted gladly that you've been an expert in mental health issues. And at 500 positive cases, that's still only 2% of our entire county population here that have tested positive. The consequences, and the reason I've taken the stand that I have, and I think it's important, is because the disease is worse. The cure is worse than the disease. You mentioned our kids. You mentioned our susceptibility. Even those people that get, and we've been doing a lot of additional testing the last 2 months. And I think that's really good for the county. So we knew those numbers were going to probably go up. We knew a lot of us coming over the border. But also, the vaccines are on their way. I can't see an option for shutting down our businesses again. I don't know how they can come back. So when you look at it's only 2% of our entire population testing positive, I think we're on the way almost to the top of the mountain. I hope I'm right. I believe I'm right. I absolutely respect your input, and I'm glad you're here. We don't disagree on very many things, but the long-term consequences for this, for our kids especially, I think cannot be overstated. Thank you.
If I may,
Certainly.
I'm not talking about shutting things down.
Okay.
I'm talking about statements being made by officials that basically encourage people not to wear a mask. And what people get is the disease without the mask. And my point today is that 50 to 80% of those 522 people are having long-term effects that are locking into their bodies. And nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, that's...
I talked to Jenny about this, and they actually changed their protocol.
Well, I think that was, I was in on those emails, and I watched and followed very closely, so...
But I'll tell you, these people are still suffering.
I know.
You know, and so the more people, if it's only 2% of Curry County could be suffering long-term with this unless we take the steps to cover our nose with our mask when you're out in public. I went to a restaurant for Super Bowl. Of the 50 people in there, I was the only one that had a mask on except the employees. You know, and that's how it spreads. And we can play this game.
Thank you again. I've never not been consistent from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Sometimes
You have.
been highly criticized, you know, so I'll stand on that record, and thank you, and I'm not going to give up on that, and but I see both sides of it, and thank you again.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks.
Gordon. Any other public comment that we overlooked, perhaps? Okay, so we're going to go, do we have Oregon Department of Transportation on the video yet? On the Zoom? I got an email from Chris Hunter, who's the primary speaker, and he said we get an error that says the code is invalid and we cannot join. Okay, so I assume staff is working on that. Go ahead, Assessor Colin, please. I'm sorry, Clerk Colin.
Can Shelley and I step up while you're waiting?
I was just going to call you next, absolutely, while we're waiting. Yep. Chief Clerk, come on in, Shelley Denny. Great to have you here.
Good morning. It is an honor, Renee Colin, Curry County Clerk for the record, and it is an honor and a privilege to present Shelley Denny, Chief Deputy County Clerk, with her 25 years of service pin. Shelley is a perfect example, of a public official. Her dedication, her knowledge, her work ethic, and her proven work record is incredible. Shelley is an asset to our county, to our office, and to the citizens that she serves. We are extremely fortunate that Shelley continues to choose to serve in her capacity as Chief Deputy County Clerk. Congratulations, Shelley. I love you, but totally. Please stay with me.
Did you start when you were 10?
I did. How'd you know? I just wanted to thank Renee for keeping me around. And I take pride in my service to the public.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boy, when your family and the Denny family blended, that was all wonderful Curry County. Shelley, thanks so much. And I sensed the two of you were tearing up just a little bit there. That was gonna affect us all, you know.
It was a tough year. Not only did we come off of a huge presidential election, but we had to deal with it on top of COVID.
And you know, you hear around the entire country and the state too of election questions and you know, malfunctions, real or perceived, and you know, the stress that comes with that, other counties, and we've never had that here, at least not in the last 30 years, and I think that the program that you both run is just a great source of pride for our citizens, and the trust just couldn't be emphasized anymore to both of you.
It is a challenging profession, and Shelley is usually the first person there at the counter that's talking to our citizens, and when they're calling in and asking what's going on and how are we and are we safe and are we secure, it's the expertise and the years of service that you've got there explaining to our citizens with a proven record that I feel that our citizens really do trust what it is we do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Deep breath. Deep breath. So, while you're getting them on there, I'm going to go to 5C. President Trump signed the Vietnam War Veterans Day Act, March 24th, 2017, 4 years ago today. We have some distinguished guests with us. And Don Bemis, would you come up, please, and bring anybody with you that you like. We'll cover for them.
They're Army guys.
You know, we used, in your VFW hall, it's still down there, on, what street is that?
That's a
Pioneer?
Pioneer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Pacific.
We used to have our Boy Scout meetings in there, and there was just a feeling of honor. Every time as a kid you went in that building, and so to be able to celebrate, I'm on the wrong program here, but the VFW, we'll get to that later. But anyway, on this wonderful act that the president did, I think was just really special and something that's great to be a part of today. And we're glad to have you and some of your comrades drive up from Brookings. Thank you very much, Don.
Well, there's a significance to that day of March 29th. Was the day that the last known POW was released and was set back on U.S. soil. And also, I understand that the last of the troops came home on that day as well. So it's very significant on March 29th. And it's celebrated around the country on different days according to some of the veteran groups that have to have it on a weekend or on the exact day. But that's something that's very important to all of us to honor our veterans, and that's why we are here, and that's why we like to attend. So I appreciate that. And Commissioner Herzog,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not sure if you know, you weren't here when I first was here. I am a Vietnam veteran with 3 tours on coastal patrol boats
Okay.
there. So I just wanted to let you know that. 'Cause I know that Chairman Boyce and I talk a lot online and in person. So I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate all our veterans as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hang on one second. So I'll make sure you see the picture of him when he was 18,
Okay.
barely 18, and he had to go down in the little boats, and he went by himself. All he had was a knife, and he didn't know what he might encounter, and they precisely timed him for 2 minutes. If he didn't come back out of there safe and sound, then they would take over the boat. His buddies on the PT boat, and I'll just never forget that story, Don. And Yeah, you haven't changed a bit. You look the same. What was, Director Smelser said that one of the times you were here, you had your uniform on. She said, you can still get in your uniform? That was
Yes, I
pretty-
can.
Yeah.
The new one. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So the 24th, it's a tremendous honor for us to be a part of this and celebrate that recognition. And I really appreciate President Trump taking and making that effort. And thanks for bringing up the POWs as well. Sam, come on up to the microphone, please. Great to have you here also.
I just want to,
Sam Vitale.
thank you. I just want to say, don't forget, we lost 58,479 in that war. 2,000 are still missing. I doubt they're alive now, but I believe the talk that I heard, talked to Special Forces people I knew, I believe there still was some left over that were alive, but I don't believe they're alive now. So let's not forget those.
Yeah.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you. POW has been there for 50 years or more. Thank you. I'm going to applaud your service.
I thank you for honoring us here today. We didn't get that honor when we came home,
Yeah.
as you know. Thank you.
God bless you, Sam, and your wonderful buddies that are here. And we're going to go to, we moved from,
Commissioner,
yes, I'm sorry.
it's going to take staff just a couple minutes to set up that go-to meeting for
Okay.
5.
We got one more we can
Okay.
plug in there, and bear with me 1 second here, guys. Thanks, Director Rickert. I'm going to mention Bob Ostrowski again,
Bill? Is it,
and Mike.
I
Mike,
think it's Bill Estrella.
did you want to speak now?
But I think it's
Okay.
It's William.
I'm sorry.
I don't think it's Bob.
What did I say?
You said Bob. It's Bill.
Oh, not all these years, I'm so sorry. You got to throw something at me, Bill. I thank you for reminding me. But Michael McNutt and John Bell, others, that I think it's 3 or 4 times a year that you're putting up flags, and you come at the south end of town, Gold Beach here, north end of town, and it's just heart-stopping. It's such a beautiful thing that you guys do with the flags. Thank you for your energy and your commitment to that. It just means everything. Bill Ostrowski, thank you. So I'm going to read the proclamation here. Curry County Board of Commissioners proudly recognizes our local Gold Beach Post 4439, Veterans of Foreign Wars, celebrating the United States 75-year anniversary. February 20, this is key, February 20, 1946 to February 20, 2021. Gold Beach Post, this is from Hal Roche, Commander-in-Chief, National Headquarters, VFW. It's an honor to congratulate you upon the occasion of the 75th anniversary of your post. I send my sincere thanks and gratitude to all members of VFW Post 4439 for your outstanding record of service to the community, to veterans, service members, and their families, and to our nation for so many years. The members of VFW Post 4439 are a pillar of support for Gold Beach, Oregon. Year after year, you have provided superb public service to others, not just the flags. You provide an invaluable network of service to those who have borne the battle, as well as to their families, and you advance the health and well-being of those who bear the burden of defending our nation and our way of life. Your continued devotion protecting and upholding American ideals serve as an inspiration for all to follow, and it is a testament to our motto, No one does more for veterans. My heartfelt congratulations on reaching this landmark. Well done. Again, Commander-in-Chief, National Headquarters, Hal Roche. And George Carroll, Commander of the VFW Department of Oregon. Congratulations, big bold letters, Post 4439. Dear Post 4439 members, it is with great pride and honor that I'm able to send the Post 75th anniversary certificate from the National Commander-in-Chief, Hal Roche. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 and Governor Brown's restrictions, I will not be able to personally present this to you at a post celebration or post meeting. You should be very proud to know that Gold Beach Post 4439 has been assisting veterans for the last 75 years. Congratulations again, and may the next 75 years be as impressive as this past 75 years. Standing strong together. George Carroll, Commander, VFW, Department of Oregon. I got to stand up one more time. It's just, thank you. That'd be wonderful.
Want to get in? Mike?
Director. Hey, Sheriff. Do you want to talk? You need to present something? Come on. Brad, come on. Pretend like you like me.
Ready? One more. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie. Wow. Love you, buddy. Love all you guys. We're here. Anytime you need us.
Sam's out of here.
He knows the drill.
Thank you, guys. Go ahead.
Chairman Boyce,
Hi.
is it possible for me to receive that video of that veteran delivering the mail? I'd like to post it to our BBA group in Nevada.
Well, of course. And I will, the gentleman who sent it, I didn't have permission to use his name, but I'm sure he'd be okay, and I will ask to make sure. And that's also going to be on the county website. So, great.
Okay, appreciate that.
Don Bemis, thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you. And earlier I did not recognize HR Director Julie Swift and also Matt Hall. We have in the audience. Thank you for your service and diligence. Editor of 3 newspapers now. 4, right? Thank you, Matt. Okay, do we have, let's see. I'm looking for Chris Hunter. Can you hear me?
Do you have anything on mute or anything?
Commissioner Boyce, do you want to click on, you see this little icon up here?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
You want to email, can you email him and let him know?
Good idea. I can do that right now.
Let them know we're using GoToMeeting, and I can give you the meeting ID.
Okay? Is that something I'm going to...
It's the 813-002-701.
813-002-701.
hold it, he's way behind you.
And they
So
will just email that.
813-002-701? That's all you need?
Yeah.
Meeting ID?
Make sure they're going to GoToMeeting.
And they were emailed that link just
Oh, they were?
minutes
Okay.
ago.
I'll keep an eye on it.
We'll come back to him. Eric, thank you very much. Okay, email's out, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mom.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, Miranda got that off to him a few moments ago. So we need to go down then on the consent agenda.
Can I speak for a minute?
Yes, of course. I thought,
That's okay. You reminded me of something I wanted to talk a little bit about. The Sheriff Ward, McCreary County Sheriff's Office. I think today is the last meeting that John Huddle is going to be our county council.
Yeah?
And I wanted to personally thank him for all the years of service that he was here with us and what he's done for the county and the sheriff's office. He's not just a county council, but he's been my friend, so I appreciate you. And I look forward to coming up and having a beer with you at your property.
Sheriff, you,
Sheriff.
anyone in your staff is welcome anytime, and thank you for the kind words. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Sheriff, he was in my office the other day, and I don't know how your name came up, but he started reminding me of a rescue you made by rope, and I said, holy cow, I remember that. And, he has become a great friend, and in addition to a wonderful public servant, and I'm so thankful that you remembered to make that little recognition there, that big recognition. So,
And Sheriff, you never know, never say never about this being the last meeting. With this board, anything is possible. There could be a meeting tomorrow, there could be a meeting.
Especially with this chairman, right?
Or the day after, you never know. But I appreciate the recognition.
Well, I would say for the last regular board meeting,
Thank you. The regularly scheduled one. I appreciate, that is correct and accurate. You are
Blame it on the
correct.
new guy.
But, no, I got to tell you, when I first got here, we had some commissioners, and one commissioner was not a fan of the sheriff, and I just said, how can you not respect this guy? He risks his life to save others. The other thing the sheriff did is he retrieved, I think personally, was involved in the retrieval of a submerged body to get the body back to the family. I mean, just the stuff you do, Sheriff, and your office does, just, again, nothing. I've never seen a sheriff who serves their community and the people better than you. So just tops in my book there.
well, I appreciate that. And like I said, it's not about me.
I know.
I think I'm going to miss Jake a little bit more now.
Yeah, no, thank you, Sheriff. Thanks again.
hey, we almost didn't hire the new attorney because he didn't have a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
So-
there's actually been a question of who's gonna bring their dog now. So someone has to
I
step
bring
up.
mine every once in a while, so.
So we're going to have another stand for Council
Oh,
Huddle.
please don't.
Council John Huddle.
No, please. No. Thanks all. Thank you all.
And I'm glad the sheriff said you said this may not be your last meeting, and I've been in a little bit of denial anyway, so. And also joining in the audience is Code Enforcement Officer, our lead, David Fortman. Did you have something you need to say real quick? Okay, I just want to make sure the audience,
He has an item on the agenda.
yeah,
there.
make sure you were recognized. Thank you for being here.
Board, it looks like we've got our fella on.
Chris Hunter. Can you hear me, Chris?
Good morning.
Great to see you. Thanks for your patience. We had an important meeting the other day, and I was the last one to get on, and I was chairing the meeting, and but it all went well, so your timing is really good, and your willingness, you and Mr. Pedersen, to come on today, and we'll miss Darren Naval, but we are just really glad to have you. And so I'm going to read off the agenda that you kindly sent me, and that likewise is appreciated. But the agenda topics are US 101 slide north of Gold Beach, construction projects chip seal, Rogue River Bridge, Port Orford, Brookings, planning projects, Arizona slide, South Coast slides, the study, and then really appreciate you bringing up the COVID relief funding through ODOT for the counties. Thank you. Chris, welcome.
Thank you. Well, let Glenn start off with this. So, slide over will be.
We're going to turn up the volume. Oh, we're all the way up. Yeah, we're trying to get the volume up, Chris, just a little bit. How do you hear us?
Actually, hear you pretty good.
Hey, very good. That's going to work. Thank you again. Welcome.
So, Glenn, do you want to jump?
He's the only one on
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not on the call yet.
Okay, well, then I'll go ahead and jump in. So, as you may already know, we opened US 101 north of Gold Beach. The slide repairs, though we may have a little bit of work left, we have opened that up. Tidewater, as usual, did a great job jumping in there in this emergency and helping us get this slide and everything cleaned up and the road reopened. So I appreciate everybody's support and patience while we did that. These things often are unexpected. Also appreciate the county's willingness to provide resources and help as well. And so again, just we got that thing open, so that'll be nice for everybody to keep things moving forward.
Mind if I take over?
Sorry.
Are you still hearing me?
You're doing good. We just had a little chuckle here. The IT stole the mouse back from me, so rightfully so.
So next we have chip seal. So I think it was Carpenterville Highway. We actually worked with the county for doing a chip seal project up there, and just wanted to iterate that we really appreciate the partnership that we have with Curry County, especially the road department stuff there, working with Richard. It was a great partnership to be able to do that. I just wanted to mention that it went really well, and again, we really appreciate that partnership that we have with the county and some of these projects that we do. And there's no questions there. Road River Bridge. We've been down there for a couple of years working on that bridge over the Road River. That work is in essence completed at this point, and so we finished it up and just tying up a few loose ends, but overall that project went really well. Had a few impacts of the traveling public, but nothing real terrible, but we managed to do that project pretty well, and it's, in essence, it's kind of wrapped up. We have coming up in Port Orford, we've got a project that we're going to come through. We're going to pave all the way through Port Orford, as well as replace a lot of the ADA ramps, add some rapid flashing beacons across the highway at a couple locations. And I did send over some information. I don't know if that was shared with folks or not, but I have some information packets that I emailed over that can be shared at some point. Currently, we're looking at probably construction will start sometime spring of 22. We bid it later this year. We'll actually go to bid and see what we got, but our guess is that won't start till the following spring at least, when weather gets better. So that project's coming to the Port Orford area. We also have a project down in Brookings that we're working on a bunch of sidewalk and ADA ramp repairs, basically between, I believe it's Parkview Drive and Easy Street. Constructing 5-foot bike lanes, 6-foot sidewalks, so definitely a bunch of infill. A few storm drain improvements basically through that section from Easy Street up to Lucky Lane. That project will start probably construction sometime, I believe, hoping for 22, but I think it'll actually probably be in 23. We're just starting the design of that. You probably, if you've driven through there, we've got some folks down there doing some survey, geotech work, basically just starting the work on the design aspect. And that'll usually take a couple of years, especially if we need any right-of-way acquisition. That usually takes a year plus to get the right-of-way taken care of. So that'll be a good project to come through and do some infill of the sidewalks and improve the non-highway use through that section. So looking forward to that. On the aspect of planning projects, we're working on a couple things. One's the Arizona Slide, big complex there. We're doing some preliminary geotechnical work to really kind of understand where we're at with the slide. We've got a lot of horizontal drains and other features in that slide area currently that's been keeping its movement to a minimal amount. We're actually starting to see some progression of that, not a tremendous amount. But as we know, as time goes on, those horizontal drains do start to separate. And we do try to maintain those, we clean them. But over time, that infrastructure that we've installed there does get old. And so we're starting to do some more geotechnical investigation, looking at kind of where the slide planes are at currently. So that'll go on for the most part for most of this year. Hopefully out of that, we'll have some good data to understand what we need to come back with to continue to kind of maintain that slide. It's a huge slide. We're never going to stop it, but the idea is to obviously minimize that movement so the road stays intact with minimal maintenance. And so we're kind of working on that now, so you'll see activities out there for a while through most of this summer. We also have a project that we're looking at a lot of the slides from probably Gold Beach south, kind of trying to get an idea of the overall scope and what can we do to help with detours. So looking at Carpenterville, improvements we can do there, traffic control opportunities, as well as mitigation of some of the slides to do similar things to them to mitigate their movement. Again, a lot of these are huge slides that we can't stop, but we can look at ways to try and minimize those or, help understand all the slides that we're dealing with. Do we have alternate detour routes? Do we have, some sort of mitigation plan we can put into place in order to keep that highway or access open through detours? And that's where even improvements to potentially Carpenterville, which is influxed with its own slide issues, so it's not always the most reliable detour either, but sometimes that's all we have when we get into some of these isolated areas on the South Coast. So we're working on a study. We're putting together kind of what we call our statement of work with a consultant to bring them on board to start that study. My guess is that study will go on for a year and a half at least, as we look at so many different options and different slide complexes that we have down there. But there's going to be a lot of information that will get entailed into that. And so that will keep us busy, and hopefully out of that we have some ideas of some projects that we can put into place to help mitigate in case we do have an issue down there to help maintain access or get access back quickly in case of another slide that does take out the highway like Houston did. Any questions so far on those projects?
No, you're doing very good.
Chris, I got a question on that Arizona slide. That was one that went out like 30-something plus years ago, and you guys had that big hole there. Is that hole still? I mean, it's deep.
Yeah, we've got on the west side of the highway down below there, we've got in essence, a big casing. It's a collection culvert, in essence, a collection well that a lot of the drainage and things go into. That is still there. We still have drainage going to it. Plus, we have a lot of drainage other places through that hill. And we do go in, we clean out those drains probably about every 5 years or so. But as we've been doing that, we're also noticing, because there is still movement, that some of those drains are starting to get pulled apart and aren't as effective as they used to. And like I said, there's certain spots that we've seen some incremental increases of movement, and therefore that's why we want to come out and do more investigation to see where's groundwater at. We need to go and look at putting in more horizontal drains, collecting more water to get it out of the ground. Because the more water we can get out, typically that settles down and doesn't move as much. And for these massive slides like Arizona, that's really some of our only options that we have in some of those areas. Because you're never going to build a big enough buttress, when you're on the cliff of the ocean. Makes it kind of hard. What are you going to put there to stop it? So yeah, still there, still intact, but like I said, its efficiency is decreased. So we're looking at what can we do to make sure that does continue to minimize its movement. If no more questions on that, then the last piece I was going to talk about is some of the, I'm sure everybody's heard of the COVID relief funding. Our agency overall is getting quite a bit, and through some of the typical formulas, we're passing a lot of that funding onto the local agencies. There was some communications through various jurisdictions earlier that we weren't passing through a lot of funds through ODOT. None of those decisions were made yet, and some of that information came out. But currently, we're looking at passing through about 45% of that funding to the local agencies. What that equates to is about 16.1 million to Portland, Kaiser, some of those larger MPOs, Salem, Kaiser, and Springfield, Eugene Springfield MPOs. But there's about 38.8 million that's going to be distributed to local counties, cities, and the smaller MPOs. And my understanding is that will be distributed through the normal formulas that they have. I'm not sure exactly what that formula is at this point, but it's my understanding is the typical formulas we use when we distribute our statewide funds for transportation projects or other things. And so there should be an influx of that funds coming. I don't know the timeline quite yet as well. They're working through some of that. But that'll be a welcome relief, obviously, for a lot of our local jurisdictions, including the counties. So definitely some funds coming. Don't have those exact breakouts at this point, but when we do, we'll make sure that those are getting shared with you folks as well.
You have anything else?
No, sir.
With that, I'm here trying to keep you on task, but I will still answer questions.
Thank you. I have just a couple of questions and comments. Through AOC and working with Jackson County, Commissioner Dyer is the first one to kind of target the COVID relief funds. And of course, I went straight to you and Darren, and I really appreciate that you took the time and I felt really watching out for our county on that, those funds coming here. And yeah, the formula is going to be a big question, but you know, it's good. And I just want to give you a shout out there for being diligent on that, and yeah, much appreciated. Your work on a bridge, that's a big part of our program here. Our whole visitor promotion it's a landmark. It's certainly historical. It's just a special part of our community, and so to see you keep the, you know, sometimes you hear small counties don't get the attention from the state agencies they should, and boy, the 4+ years I've been here, I sure haven't seen that from ODOT, not in the slightest. And it's almost, I almost want to put it in the miracle category for what you did at Arizona and Huskanaden. I mean, I know there's a lot of municipalities and counties, citizens really going after your attention and priorities, and boy, you've just done a terrific job. You also mentioned the partnerships. You know, that small counties don't always have that relationship with state agencies, and yeah, the years I've been here, I've really been able to be a part of that a little bit, and you guys just really have terrific leadership there, and just it needs to be said, and I want our citizens to know that relationship is growing, and you spend wisely. You're always attentive. You're aware of our emergency situations that we often have here, and I just wanted to give you a shout out there. How long you been with ODOT, Chris?
I've been with ODOT for 21 years, a little over that. So been here a long time in this region, working for, you know, this pretty much the same area. So all of our coastal communities as well as Douglas County. So very familiar, and you're right. I think we've been able to build a good rapport with our local jurisdictions and our counties. And it's a good partnership. We work together on a lot of different projects, and that's what makes this job, I know, a lot of fun. And we do understand the needs, although sometimes Mother Nature makes it really difficult to always fulfill those as quick as people would like. But we're always there and trying to make sure that we can keep keep folks able to get in and get out.
Well, I miss our Southwest Area Commission on Transportation. You know, Gary Milliman's the director of that. Yeah, I miss those meetings, but, you know, all those wonderful opportunities to put you on the spot, you know, and Darren. So anyway, please apologize to Glenn Pedersen on, you know, on our little mix up there on IT, but you come in, great presentation. We're probably going to invite you back in a year. And just great work for the coast of Oregon, the South Coast, and Curry County. Did anyone else have any questions? We're going to let you sign off then.
Yep, thank you, Commissioner Boyce. Appreciate it a lot. And anytime, we're always happy to attend.
Tell everybody hi. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So we're going, let's see, to item 6. I'm going to read off the consent agenda. We moved 6A. Item 6B, correct me if I'm wrong, approved minutes, special meeting December 23rd. Item 6C, minutes of special meeting January 12th. Item 6D, minutes, emergency meeting March 5th. 6E, special meeting on March 10th. 6F, Board of Property Tax Appeals, record of business. 6G, Board Adoption of Curry County Road Department, 6-year improvement plan. I want to spend a little time on that, but I think that's going to be, everybody's pretty excited and tuned into that. Item 6H, adopt a position description for Women and Infants Children Coordinator. 6I, adopt a position description for existing position Environmental Health Coordinator. 6J, position description for an existing position District Attorney. Domestic Violence Investigator. 2 more. 6M, Signature Authority Roadmaster for Dyer Partnership Task Order number 24. 6N, Signature Authority 2 Roadmaster for 2021 Chip Seal Oil Contract with Albina Asphalt. Director Rickard, hi.
I thought we kept 6L on the consent agenda.
We did not take it off. That's right. So we're gonna prove that. You haven't heard from Coordinator Madison then? Okay. So item 6L, letter of support regarding House Bill 3173 for Curry County Fairgrounds. Her and I worked on that letter just a little bit and refining. Council Huddle, did you have anything? No, Mr. Chair. So I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
So moved.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes?
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
So we're going to have a public hearing at 10:30. Why don't we take a break now? And we'll come back. It is 10:05. Please come back at, actually, why don't we do, let's do Clerk Colin real quick here, and then we'll take a break. Okay? And that is an order reclassifying certain positions in the County Clerk's office, County Clerk Renee Colin. Welcome again.
Thank you, Renee Colin, County Clerk. And again, thank you for allowing us to amend the agenda and add our item. It's much appreciated. And I don't know if you've read all the background, but we submitted background documentation. We've worked with County Council, Julie Swift, HR, Brad Record. We've updated the Board of Commissioners. What you have before you is an order. We would recommend approval of that order, reclassifying back the positions in our clerk's office that were reduced due to the last salary study that was done individually by our prior Director of Operations. Do you have any questions, or did County Council want to speak to this, or Julie Swift?
I'll just speak briefly. So again, this is under the state pay equity law. I'll just talk about the law part of it. That's why I'm involved. And again, the law requires that positions who do work of comparable character be compensated, the same or similarly, and that's why we do these studies and things. Typically, some of the factors you look at is responsibility, accountability, decision-making, discretion, level and degree significant of tasks, autonomy, extent to which they work without supervision, extent to which they exercise supervisory functions. And so what we put in your packet is we're moving the deputy clerk from one category to another. A job that exists in that other category is the deputy assessor, I believe. And so we've allowed you to look at those two job descriptions to compare those type of factors, and they are similar. And so that's really the basis of the decision, and the other two are treated the same, the clerk 1 and 2. So other than that, I don't have any other questions, but those would justify the decision to change if that's what the board does, and then that's really the analysis there.
Do you have something?
No.
I just have a couple questions, comments, in the agenda routing slip, and thanks for getting that in, because it would have been, another couple weeks, and this is really important, 25 years notwithstanding of service to this county. Just want to read something. In 2020, the County Director of Operations performed a reclassification based on her own analysis. The board adopted the reclassification order 20909, July 1st, 2020. That in itself has a little bit of controversy, and I'm not trying to push back in during that time, but I want to speak to that in just a moment. The order reduced the classification of 3 positions at the clerk's office. A review of comparable positions in different classifications justifies reclassifying 3 positions in the clerk's office. I'm glad that you caught this, and you didn't catch it during election time. What was the matter in your office there? It's just a little bit busy.
Yes.
But it doesn't look like an oversight. It looks political, and I don't know how this happened and how this was overlooked. And I'm glad we caught it. I'm glad that we're able to vote today and make this right. But it's it really makes me scratch my head. And it's sometimes unelected people take on authority that they shouldn't have. And you see that at the state level, you see it at the national level, and the people are rebelling. So I won't comment any further than that, except, again, to send gratitude for taking care of this, and your staff and our staff. And it's it might even be 2 or 3 months overdue, but thank you.
We're very appreciative that we are able to correct this, and I can't thank y'all enough for everyone working together.
Director Rickert, please.
Okay, so I do have a little bit more information for you guys to base your decision on. I haven't had as much of a chance as I would have liked to go through Julie's files and try to see why she did what she did. I do have some information here. So LGPI, who is who we would usually do this through, or have us help us with it. They closed their doors, it sounded like. Julie did work with an outside company to put this together. She was only given $5,000, if I remember right, to do this. So she did, but she did use that company to help base these decisions on. So. For some of the comparables that she used were from Jefferson County. They had a clerk, a chief deputy clerk, and then someone from another department who they gave a stipend to help with some of the other clerk duties. Their chief deputy clerk had a wage of $4,084 a month. Baker County was also looked at, as they were another one of the highest paying counties for that position. Theirs was at $4,186. And so if I read the data right, it looked like Curry was already paying $45.97 a month, it was determined somehow that it was already $500 above market. So the wage of $43.26, which was what the chief deputy clerk is currently getting is, as you can see from that data, already higher than the comparables, and she set it that high. It looked like based on education requirements for the job and the supervisory responsibilities, whereas in the other counties, some of those components were missing.
The only comment I would have on that, if I may, is that the Local Government Personnel Institute was a rock-solid resource for many years, and as I understand, the $5,000 that we extended was not well spent, and it didn't really produce much. And I think that what really puzzles me is that everybody else's wages, almost without exception, went up, and the clerk's office went down. So it just didn't fit. I'm fairly well aware of what Jefferson County structure is. It's not the same overall, but I just don't. Go ahead. I don't feel like we can defend it.
To speak to what your director of operations is stating, is the comparable information that we saw. First of all, is on the chief deputy. There is no chief deputy at the scope of responsibility in Jefferson County that we have here. It looks like she compared an office manager to our chief deputy county clerk position.
I remember that.
Comparable, I don't think is. Go ahead, John.
Council Huddle?
Thanks. I feel like it is getting a little bit, I don't know, you mentioned the word political and whatnot. I really think the focus should be on the objective factors. And I looked at the Boley rule, and I'm not sure that it says you look at other counties in the rule. I'll go back and look again. But really what we're trying to do is pay our workers comparable within our organization, and so we're using it comparable within our organization. So, and really, again, I've heard the same thing about the company we used, and also I think Director Schmelz was under a lot of pressure to do it. But at the same time, this is a type of product that can always be revisited with new information, and so I don't want to draw a lot of conclusions based on just how things happened. I think really it's important to look at the objective analysis and use the documents to support your decisions. And even the order adopting the pay scale says until changed by the board. I think it even anticipated it could be looked at and changed again. So I think it might just be something that just occurs over time. In this case, the employees affected brought it to the board's attention, but it could come to the board's attention in any other kind of way. And this may not be the last time we relook at the study. So it's just, that'll be up to resources that we have. Like the clerk's office didn't have the resources to do this during the time the study was being conducted because of the election. Now they do. It's just all about when can you do something, when do you have the extra time to do things. Director Rickert didn't have a lot of extra time to get involved in this on this one either. I mean, we're all just subject to the same kind of restrictions. So I would recommend just staying away from the kind of conversation of finger pointing and just look to the objective information. I think that's the best way to make decisions.
I said I'm puzzled, didn't form any conclusions, but I have some very valid reasons why I might be just a little bit suspicious. So I'm ready for vote. Did you have something else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
I make a motion.
I just have one other thing
Whoops,
before.
I'm sorry.
And just to clarify that, my role in presenting this is really just to show the data that Julie used to formulate her analysis, and not anything against any of your employees, Shelley or Ian, anyone else. Just to present the data, so you had that information to
Thank
make
you
a
again.
decision on.
So I move to approve the order reclassifying certain positions to the county clerk's office.
I'll second that motion. Any other further discussion? Call for the question. Staff Jesuit, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes, sir.
Chair Boyce.
Aye.
Motion carried 2-0.
Everybody back here just prior to 10:30, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a second. Could we just do Wendy Lang real quick? She is
Ah.
there.
Oh, of course, come in. Good call, Commissioner.
I
That's,
could
yeah.
see. I'm her liaison, and I want to stay in her good graces.
How'd you get to be her liaison?
Well, she likes me more than anybody else.
Welcome, Juvenile Director Lang. And I'm
Thank you.
sorry. Good call again,
No,
Commissioner.
thank you. It's just short and sweet. I just, before you should be a new contract from ODOT for litter patrol. Last year with COVID, the state wasn't able to do it, so they came to us last minute. We did a quick contract, 4 weeks, $15,000, where we had 3 youth and a leader, and Waylon Summers went out and ran it. Did such a good job in 4 weeks, and you've probably noticed there is so much trash along the roads right now. We're not sure why, how everything was affected, but it is horrible right now. So we took our community service kids out September through October for another $6,000. And Waylon Summers did, and this is on him, an absolutely amazing job. So good that ODOT came back to me last month and said the whole 8-week contract can be yours. We need a bid. Can you guys do it? So we're here to ask you to approve the new contract. It's $40,000 this year. It'll actually be 8 weeks. We'll employ 4 youth, 1 crew leader, and Waylon Summers will oversee the whole project. It'll put revenue back in. I mean, it's using our equipment and him, and that comes with a daily rate, not to mention, you know, the priority kids that will look at the jobs are kids that need to pay restitution. We'll get them back in the workforce, maybe some fines and fees. So it's an excellent program to boost our community service work that we do. COVID has left us, you know, the state parks and that type of thing, we weren't able to fulfill all those contracts. So again, all the credit goes to Waylon Summers, who went out and did these kids and did an amazing job. And ODOT liked the work so much, they're allowing us the opportunity to bid it again. So we're just asking for your support.
Commissioner Herzog.
I move that we approve the contract with ODOT for litter patrol.
You're doing good on the motions today. Very good. I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? Send our regards to Waylon, please.
I will.
And we just really appreciate the job you're doing there, and the heart you have for kids is just off the chart. Thank you very much.
He was going
Director
to be
Lang.
here today, but he's got a crew in Brookings right now, again, working for ODOT down there. So thank you very much for squeezing me in.
Thanks, Wendy.
Yes, thank you. Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes, sir.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
Okay, let's get everybody back here. 10:30. Thank you, guys. Good to have you here.
Good
Excuse
morning.
me. Just that one microphone, just a little bit. Yeah. There you go. Great. Thank you.
Luke, my name is Luke Pike with Curry Transfer Recycling. I stand before you today to request a price increase throughout the Curry County. We're looking at the CPI average, it's 1.4% this year. That would constitute a 37-cent raise for the most popular size cart in the rural areas, and then the urban growth boundary would be a 42-cent a month increase. The only other change, if you look at the pricing, the yard debris, which we did an adjustment earlier in the year for our transfer sites, but we didn't change the, like if a roll-off, somebody ordered a roll-off box full of yard debris, so we did change that rate up to $20 a yard to compensate for the composting. Now, instead of, we used to burn the yard debris, but now it's getting composted. And the other thing I wanted to touch base, last year we struggled with change at our transfer sites. There's a bit of a change shortage around. Was very difficult to make change, so we rounded our numbers to the nearest dollar. We still maintain within the 1.4% increase, but it's it's a way to manage the money a little bit different, easier for the customer, easier for us. We don't have to deal with a 15 cents for something. It's just going to be just to the nearest dollar. Is there any questions or anything or any concerns?
I'll go to Council Huddle first. Did you have anything?
No, as Manager Pike mentioned, there's generally a restriction on how many times you can raise a fee in any given year, but we did raise their dump fee, where people bring things, a yard waste fee, to the transfer center, but we did not raise the fees that we're raising now, which is why we're allowed to do it. Some people may say, well, we adjusted their fees in January, and he explained it's a different fee, so we're not making a second adjustment to the same fee in the 6-month period. So that's really all I had, unless you have a question.
Commissioner Herzog?
No questions. If you're ready for a motion, I'm ready.
I have just a couple
Well, we
questions.
open the public hearing and take any comments if there are any.
Yeah.
Public hearing first.
Yes.
Excuse me. So anybody in the audience wants to,
Oh, sorry, bud.
good catch, Eric, who wants to offer comment? Director Rickert? Nothing? Okay. No one in the audience, so we're going to close the public hearing. And I do have just, Commissioner Pash not here today. Honestly, I kind of sped read this, and although, Council Huddle, thank you for your clarification on when that we didn't raise that, or raise these fees the last time we were on this general topic. Do you know when the last time these fees went up?
We didn't raise anything in 2020, so it would have been July of 2019.
So we're almost 2 years. Okay. You know, my initial thought is, wow, we need to go the other way on all fees. But I don't know if the county really has I almost want to say a right to, tell you what your fee should be. You're a private business. I know we need to be involved, but,
I think one of the things I would say,
Sure.
We took the stance last year to not, pass along any increases that we got or anything. Our vendors continued to raise last year, unfortunately. This year was the same thing. So now we've had 2 increases on our disposals, from the landfill, which with no reprieve. And, it's just kind of one of those things where it depends on the type of business, I guess, that you are. If they, our vendors didn't stop, whether, when COVID hit, they just continued as their normal routine. If they increased us in January, they increased us in January again in 20. We just chose not to pass any costs along to our customers in 2020.
Commissioner Herzog.
I just thought the raise was justifiable and very reasonable. And I went down and I toured with Luke and I can't remember the lady's name, but
Candy.
he had a great visit with them, and they're doing a great job. They take trash seriously, so.
Thank you. Council Huddle?
Thanks. I just wanted to mention, this was a late addition to the agenda. That was an oversight on my part. We had done the newspaper advertising saying that there would be a hearing on this day and time to consider this fee. But last week, when it came time to submit the materials to the BOC office for putting on the agenda that goes out on Fridays, I didn't do that. And then I was reminded that we needed to put this on. So this was added to the agenda, I think, just yesterday. But at the same time, the notice was published, for I think a couple of times, or at least one time a week ahead of the meeting. And so that was that. And then similarly, the item that we just considered before the break, the reclassification, that's something that had been being worked on, I think, for close to a month. And then I think there was some assumptions in that case that different people were going to put it on the agenda, and then it was like, hey, we need to put that on the agenda. So that's just kind of the genesis of how the agenda got put together on those 2 items this meeting. That's all.
Well, Council Huddle, thank you. Both you and Director Rickert, the things on your desk that you have to try and, to juggle and get done, I think we all have that. But I just want to state that the agenda that we put together today with I think the valid amendments and changes, staff Jesuit, everybody. I mean, I at least give it a B plus, maybe an A minus, so thanks for that clarification. If there's no hurry on this, I'm going to recommend we bring it up again on the 14th and promise you a solid vote. And I'm envious because I haven't got a tour, by the way, and I've been here 4 years. Okay, so.
You can make that happen.
I just want the people to know that we're really studying the decisions and the recommendations and everything that they've dealt with. I'm not saying I'm going to be a no. I want to buy that little extra time to really make sure on this. And, I don't know what we'd do without your company. I'll never forget 6 years ago, my cousin in Douglas County, when he was first elected, one of their biggest issues was people would spend more money driving out almost into the wilderness and dumping their stuff. And, at that time, they were really dealing with what to charge, what not to charge, and encourage people, please don't take it out in the beautiful backcountry of Douglas County. And so I always remembered that, and I'm not saying that's happening here, but it has to do with code enforcement. It has to do with the team effort in this entire small county. It has to do with a public awareness, certainly a commitment. And, in my recommendation to Commissioner Herzog to just maybe table this for 3 weeks or to our next meeting on the 14th, that is in no way a lack of tremendous appreciation for your company, all the people you employ, the job you do. I mean, you're always on time, and just run a really good program. So Commissioner Herzog, subject to your approval, that's my request.
The only thing I have to say in response to that is they didn't raise rates in 2020, and we did the same thing at Coos Curry Electric. But like he said, other people that they're vendors that are and I see this. Maybe Luke, you could go over those amounts again, Court, because they are minimal, so minimal that's why I have no issues with approving this today, because I think they would like to have a April 1 jump off. So
Yeah, we really believe in the history of our company is we believe in small, tiny, incremental increases versus you'll see some companies will wait and not raise rates for 3 or 4 years, and then boom, you get hit with a 10-20% increase or something like that. We were able to maintain our the same flow with doing like a 1.4%. It's 37 cents to a customer, or 42 cents, depending on your size of your car. It could be in the 60, 70 cents a month versus waiting for multiple years. And then all of a sudden you raise a customer $5 or $6 a month, where that's a bigger hit all at once versus, something we can keep in the lower range and people can manage it a little bit better. That's what we've kind of, within our company, and not just here, in our other companies, we've found that that's a much better way to offset costs that we get, raised from our vendors and things like that.
because I think you remember Cal Gordy. I don't know, that goes way back to the 60s, 70s. He was the garbage man in Brookings, and Pete Smart came, and Pete Smart is still kind of involved in.
Fully retired now.
Fully retired, okay. But still,
But yeah.
I just see, when, if somebody wants to raise, they didn't raise anything in 2020 and they want to raise it less than $1, I'm perfectly okay with that. So anyway,
This turned into quite a discussion, and I think that's good. I mean, $1 here, $1 there, and I just see what our people have been through. And so, good persuasive argument. I'm probably, yeah, come on up. Code Enforcement Officer Fortman, please.
Yeah.
I just want to take the
I think I'm going to get double teamed here.
the opportunity to say that CTR has been working with code enforcement and has given people that don't have the money to be able to pay for the trash service discounts, and has been outstanding on getting a lot of the problems resolved. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge that they have been a partner with the county.
Good partner, yeah.
Thank you very much. Good to hear, and no surprise. Oh, gosh. So to the 14th, that's, so you want to get on the end of the billing, which would help
We start,
your
we
staff.
bill quarterly, so
Okay.
that's why it's, we're asking for the April 1st, that starts the new quarter.
Okay,
No
and,
April Fool's joke.
and so you say nothing since July of 2019?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to speak to the public here and just say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead, after hearing Commissioner Herzog and CEO Fortman and yourself, you know, I want companies to make money. I mean, that's how they keep their people employed, and that's critical to any area, obviously. They're just, yeah, there's a lot of hurting people out there, and I want them to know that we're not indifferent to being aware of what they're dealing with, and yet I'm 50-50, so if Commissioner Herzog says this is what we should do, and he's studied this, then I'm going to support on that, and we'll be done with this. If
It makes you feel better. We do work with, you know, even last year we worked with so many people that, you know, that were struggling. We, you know, typically you might do, you know, suspend non-pays and things like that. You know, we did away with that, and we just, you know, people would call in, and we pretty much just, with every customer, it was different. It was whatever we could, you know, we could help them, and we worked it out by customer is how we did it, and we still do that today.
I mean, with all sincerity, and I recognize your company has a tremendous reputation, and yeah, we want to stay in that partnership with you.
So I'll make a motion?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I make a motion that we approve resolution increasing fees for household waste with CTR.
I'll second that. Call for any more discussion? How's the vote go, Mr. Jesuit?
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes?
Chair Boyce.
Yes?
Motion carried 2-0.
Thank you.
Real quick, how many people employed at Curry Transfer?
36.
That's awesome. Thank you again.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's see, we can squeeze in one more here before we do Oregon Department of Forestry. And you're next there. 8C, Animal Shelter Service Agreement. Code Enforcement Officer Fortman, welcome again.
Thank you, Commissioners. Dave Foreman, Code Enforcement Officer of Curry County. What you have before you today is a revision to the contracts that the county has held with originally Pennies for Pooches and now Wild Rivers Animal Rescue for providing shelter services for the county. The highlights of this new agreement is it more clearly defines the roles between the two entities. It provides stable funding both for the organization so they can plan and do the grid programs that they've been doing in addition to impounding animals. And it provides stable funding sources now to the county to be able to provide more services to the people of this county. And this contract meets and opens the doors for us to move forward with the dog licensing issues and compliance with the state regulations. I'm proud to say that this contract actually is no increase in cost to the county. It actually reduces the overall cost to the county. While it maintains, the cost is maintained, it does allow the county in a partnership with Wild Rivers Animal Rescue and other organizations to provide more services to community animal owners, such as low vaccination clinics, spay and neuter, education, and all that on other programs. Thank you.
You're welcome to take that off.
And again, as I said, it will provide stability both for the county and WAR to continue with the programs that we operate. It also reduces the cost to the taxpayers of this county. The taxpayers currently pay through code enforcement's cost to do the animal control services for the county, and we don't have a mechanism to redeem the cost from the violators, for example, when we impound a dog. And this gives us back the ability for that money to come to us, since we'll be paying the WAR upfront for this kennel services. It, as I said, provides safety and services to the community, not only in the clinics to the dog owners and animal owners, but it's safety in that more dogs, hopefully more dogs will be vaccinated, more programs of dealing with aggression and barking and all the other issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. This contract will allow us to be able to fund those programs. So that essentially said, it's my department's recommendation that you adopt this contract. There is two minor little changes that we would ask since it was put into the AGS for publication. We found a typographical error on War's name initials, just an extra W into it. And on one stipulation in the contract, I'm sorry, that requires the contractor requires Wild Rivers Animals to maintain records for 5 years from the time of cessation of the contract. Wild Rivers requested that we adopt the state's requirements, who also inspects their facilities, and that is 1 year, and I think that's more reasonable for both parties. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes, go ahead,
Just
Councilman.
when you're ready. Were you about wrapping up? Or?
Yes, sir.
Good. So I just want to follow up on that last thing, changing, and this is on page 5. Dave had come and talked to me beforehand and talked about these. It's section 1.10.A. It has a 5-year, and David talked to Bill and thought changing it to 1 year. And I talked to both of them and said, could we just say, per the state record retention laws, and then that way, you know, it's more flexible, and it's maybe even more, because that's what we're trying to do. And Bill said that's okay, and Dave said, so with those changes, I think we'd recommend approval.
Council Huddle, this is a 9-page contract. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
8-page, actually, I think.
8
The order is, okay.
Director Rickard.
I just want to say I like the changes to this contract. It allows the county a little more flexibility in working with other entities, other animal service entities within the county. As Mr. Fortman said, we will have the possibility of funding or helping to fund some spay-neuter clinics through the revenue received from dog licenses. We also have other entities in the county that we'd like to partner with to expand services, provide better services for the county. So I stand with Dave and recommend that we change the contract as shown in here with the amendments.
That's helpful. Thank you, Director Rickard. Did you have anything else?
Yes, sir.
I have nothing.
Council Huddle, anything else?
Nope.
Sorry.
You want me to make a motion?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the Animal Shelter Service Agreement.
I'm going to second that, even though it is 8.5-page contract. No fault of anyone here. So yes, I second that. Any further discussion? No pun intended. Doggone good work, I'm telling you. Great work, truly. Did I just see maybe Director Swift coming here? Oh, going by. Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you again.
Let me make one more statement.
Yes.
Also, I want to thank John Huddle for his hard work and working alongside of me for the last couple of years. John has been instrumental in getting this program to move forward and getting through the hurdles of the program.
Can be a hurdle.
And he's probably got the most favorite dog that I chase around in the county. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Dave. It
Thanks,
means
Dave.
a lot. Thank you so much. You're, again, much respect.
Thank you, Count.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Yep.
Thank you, Bill. So we need to, I got to text my buddy here.
Oregon Department of Forestry.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he's not already on. We need to take a 5-minute break, guys, and get lined up here. Is that okay?
Is this another go-to meeting?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think we even have that up right now, so probably need to set that up. We can take 5 and...
Yeah, let's do it and give her a chance to come in. Okay, great. See everybody back here and just prior to 11 o'clock, please. And after recess, we have... Volume's okay? So we have 2 gentlemen from the Oregon Department of Forestry. We're very happy to welcome here. Grant Smith goes by the nickname of Link. I was saying how much I appreciate the tremendous effort that you made during the Checo Bar fire. I knew you prior to that, but you brought a great team to Curry County, and then in 2018, the Klondike fire. We practically lived together during those summers, and I always appreciate any opportunity to point out the successes and the professionalism. I think the best of the 14 Western United States Forest Protective Associations, the 9 we have here in this state, and I'm always giving our local people here a bad time that we're going to quit calling it the Coos Forest Protective Association, and we're going to change the name to Coos Curry Forest Protective Association. So, but I have a lot of fun with Derwin Boggs and, of course, Mike Robinson and Brett Weidmiller, the team that they have. So just want to welcome you again. And the Good Neighbor Authority is a new thing for Oregon, but it's a lot in process due to the reputation that Oregon Department of Forestry has, and I'm proud to repeat. And as the Forest Service seems to be getting smaller, this is a chance for Oregon Department of Forestry to carry some of that harvest load and forest management and reforestation and all that goes with that. The NEPA process, every aspect. Curry County has tremendous natural resources, and our forest and wilderness areas, our backcountry is no small thing, and we're proud of it. And now after the 2 major fires where we lost almost 320,000 acres combined in 15 months, we have a major task to rebuild our entire forest and watershed system. So thank you very much for that little extra time there. I may have some comments at the end. Ryan, I'd like to welcome you, and we've got Grant Smith on the phone. We couldn't get 2 of you in on the video, so take whatever time you need and explain to the board and the citizens here the process on this important timber sale that we have coming up. Thank you again. Welcome, Ryan. Go ahead. Can you? Yeah.
Yep. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're both perfect on volume.
Okay, I'll start off here. This is Link Smith. I'll just do a quick introduction. Again, I'm the district forester for the Western Lane District of the Department of Forestry, based out of Bonita, over here by Eugene. But our district actually kind of covers part of Lane County, Douglas, Coos and Curry County, and we work. We get pretty confused, and it's a too long a story, but we work side by side with the Coos Forest Protection Association. CFPA does all the actual firefighting, and we're down in Coos and Curry counties. So we manage the timberlands and help kind of oversee the Forest Practices Act, SOD program. And then Ryan, who's here with me on the screen, Ryan's based, he's our unit forester based out of Coos Bay. And it just so happens we are on the same fire team and have spent some time in that country, including the Lobster Fire right there in Gold Beach. And we were camped at the fairgrounds a few years ago, so pretty familiar with that ground as well. But really, this is a quick kickoff. I know our time's limited. We met with the commissioners. It's been probably 3 years ago, I'm guessing. The Curry County commissioners, and I know we have a couple new commissioners at the time that I haven't met face-to-face yet. I'm looking forward to that here soon. But we just wanted to give you a quick update on where we are with the Good Neighbor Authority. You'll hear us refer to GNA. What it is, it's really an agreement that allows the states to work with the Forest Service and BLM and assist them on various activities, including timber sales, predominantly on the timber sale market where we're helping the most now. But the reason we want to really engage with the commissioners is just to make sure sure you understand the difference in a standard Forest Service timber sale where the counties will receive a share of the revenue. On a G&A timber sale, they don't. Those revenues go into a fund that helps. They can pay for other restoration activities. It can be dealing with invasive species, fuel reduction, different forest health. It can also help pay for us, being the state side, helping them with, lay out a timber sale, for instance, in a standard sale where the county would receive a share of the revenue. But typically what we do right now is additive for the Forest Service, and what I mean by that is this timber sale that Ryan's going to talk about here in a second. They don't have the staffing or the personnel or the resources to be able to get it done. It's kind of one of those, that sale would never happen if we weren't there to assist them. And at least we're still getting some logs to the mills, it's a thinning project. And again, Ryan will get more into that here shortly. So just want to make sure you kind of understand the difference there and really introduce ourselves again, especially to the commissioners. So with that little kickoff, I'll shoot it over to Ryan. We'll give you a little more update there and hopefully be able to share a screen with you with a couple of pretty good photographs and what he's done recently on the Chico wildfire. So Ryan, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Good morning. I wanted to talk about two different projects this morning. The first one was our first use of Good Neighbor Authority, and that was after that Chetco bar fire. The Forest Service came to us with this opportunity that they were not going to be able to get to all of the salvage that they wanted to, and they had a couple projects that we could help them out with. So we laid out, sold, and administered a timber sale contract called Long Ridge in summer of 2019 that produced about 4 million board feet that sold to South Coast Lumber, used a logger out of the Gold Beach area, and that project removed dead or dying trees along 25 miles of public access Forest Service roads. And I'm not sure if I can share a photo. I'm not seeing the ability right now. We can certainly email that out to the commissioners after this meeting. But there's a stark contrast from roads that had green trees right up to the edge of that road and then burn, and those that had been treated where we remove all of those hazards that certainly would fall down in the next 10, 15, 20 years and make those roads impassable. So this project really served a small section of the total road system there in the forest, but still that's important for the local citizens to be able to access that area. That's a rock road, they can get in there year round, and so now that road will not just self-close in over the next few years. Our next project is called the Lobster Timber Sale. It is a little bit east of Port Orford, up the Elk Creek drainage. The other access point would be up Lobster Creek out of Gold Beach. And that project is a commercial thinning of overstocked plantations from the 1960s. We're happy to work in some green timber instead of burn timber. Our ability to market that and length of time we have to work in that is much better than burn timber. That project should produce about 2 million board feet to the local mills. That sale will be prepared, advertised this summer, and will come with a 3-year contract lifespan. So the purchaser will have the ability over the next 3 years to choose their market exposure and when they choose to log that sale. And that's what I have for you this morning. Any questions?
Ryan, when you talk about burned timber, just talking to the South Coast reps, I think it was Friday, they're glad to have burned timber. Obviously they want it before it gets to year one, because as you well know, the value goes down really quickly after that. I'm also working with them on the Slater fire recovery and salvage, and I'm not seeing a lot of movement from the Forest Service right now, and I'm just starting to nibble around the edges of what that means. Can you offer any insight on that, either you or Link, on the Slater, because we know that was, what, 120,000 acres, the Devil and the Slater fires combined. Do I have that right?
I'm not familiar with Slater that much because it's not within the lands or the area that we
Okay.
work in. So I'm not sure if Link has any insight there.
Yeah, I really don't. I do know that we are working on a G&A timber sale in that same coming through the fire, and unfortunately that district where that falls into that part of the Red River system was Dave Larson out of Southwest Oregon District, and so I didn't pay a lot of attention to that timber sale court, so I apologize on that one. But I do know that they are looking at doing some G&A work from the Slater fire as well.
And I just got an email from Dave the other day, so that's a good reminder, and I will get back to him. But, you know, obviously the Josephine County people, even Curry County people, that's close to our mill here. And, you know, it's been, what, 6-8 months since it was destroyed, not quite that. And so that's very valuable timber. So obviously I didn't expect you to really have good insight on that. However, we need all the help we can get in managing that the best way we possibly can. And I did talk to Supervisor George over the weekend, but that subject didn't come up. And but that's still really helpful, guys, really helpful. But yeah, you mentioned South Coast. They'll take burnt timber. They need about 150 log truckloads per day, and they're up to 550 employees now. So obviously that is huge for our little county. The people they employ and the services they provide, and the export of their lumber. So did you have anything? Nope. Hey, Link, thanks for bringing up the lobster fire. You know, I was your first call, so I was quite honored, and you know that, yeah, and also Doug Graff, you know, the director there, he called too, and that was a scary time. But I want the public to know that during that fire, in fact, I have a picture of the sheriff and two of his deputies when they closed the Lobster Creek Road off there, just actually a couple hours after the fire was discovered. So I'm pretty proud of that picture. But anyway, you know, in exactly 24 hours, Oregon Department of Forestry and the Coos Forest Protective Association put out a 380-acre fire. So that is just a tremendous accomplishment. And, you know, we almost lost our Lobster Creek campground. If the wind had been going the other way, we would have lost everything. And fire started by kids goofing off, and so you know, we did maintain our park. We're very happy about that. And again, just a tremendous note of gratitude for how ODF responded to that fire. And that, yeah, and I didn't mean to leave that out, because yes, we've had 3 major fires in 3 years, and the last 2 summers have been remarkably good and easygoing. So we're very thankful for that. You know, I've gone on the Good Neighbor Authority. I've spent some time at your offices in Salem, and I've wanted to learn all I could about this. And I've gone round and round with Representative David Brock Smith a little bit on this. We're not really in disagreement, but we're not in solid agreement either. In that, and thanks for pointing out, Link, that the timber revenues through this program do not come back to the counties. Through on my AOCC board membership and Association of Oregon Counties Natural Resources Board and others within that, you know, they're quick to remind that some of the rural commissioners are a little bit concerned because we don't get that county revenue. David Brock Smith's position is, and I don't disagree with this, I think it's noteworthy, the benefits to the county are more long-term. No, we don't get the funds right up front, but you know, because of the reputation, the reason I have been supportive, albeit a little bit arm's length, I've been supportive of this because of the reputation of ODF, and not just in the firefighting capacity and successes and determination, but because any way that the Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service, and this is not a negative, any way they can get help until we can get their staffs built back up, and especially to us, it's the Rogue River Siskiyou National Forest, most unique, most wild, most rugged national forest, arguably, in North America. And so we want to build that forest back, as we were talking earlier. And the Forest Service needs help on that. And I think it's obvious to me the extent that ODF, Oregon Department of Forestry, has stepped up. And this county, I think I can speak for the commissioners. We want to support that. And we want to give you authorization on this. I'll look for a motion here. Be surprised if you don't get the support you need so you can move forward and just keep building the relationship. You've been incredibly protective of our county. You're 90% of the fires that ODF gets that they have to respond to, 90% of them they hold under 10 acres. And is that the right stat? Maybe it's 1 acre, but anyway, it's the best in the West, and I often say that, and I think it needs to be repeated. So I didn't mean to talk quite this long. I want to just encourage you to conclude any way you want here and say whatever needs to be added. But again, the public needs to know how valuable I see, as just one commissioner, this relationship that we have with you. And so, yeah, Link, when I get a call from you, it's fun, and it's informative. Ryan, you too. It's always helpful to our citizens, and I think too the fact that you took this time today and really want to build the relationships and make sure that we have your support and the opportunities to clarify here the aspect and the direction behind Good Neighbor Authority. Thank you very much. Commissioner Herzog?
Nothing.
Director Rickert?
Nothing.
Council Huddle?
Nothing further, thank you.
Oh, I did have one more thing. Just in your summary of project, I belong to an organization called Curry County Public Lands Access. So if ever, it's under direct benefits to the county. When you talk about road decommissioning, this is a battle that, not a battle so much, but just a challenge to Supervisor George. The pressures on him sometimes to decommission roads is not something my citizens accept, almost without exception. And of course, the 4 categories are law enforcement, future timber harvest, firefighting, and recreation. And when we get roads decommissioned, and the stories are out there, and this is not anything that Oregon Department of Forestry committed to or promoted, when those roads are decommissioned, sometimes it costs thousands of dollars just to decommission 1 mile. And the CFP, the Curry Public Lands Access Group, they are out there continually volunteering their time to keep these roads open for the next generations. And again, there's always that hope that it'll be timber harvest additionally in the future. So that's the only really, and I had one friend bring this up, that the decommissioning of roads, so I didn't want to miss that. When you talk about fuels treatment, that gets us up early in the morning when we hear that. And then the NEPA process, you've got some excellent people that know and understand how to deal with that and to move that as fast as it can possibly be moved. And so thank you again. Anything you want to offer additionally? Thanks for listening, though.
Well, I think, again, I just want to thank you, commissioners, for allowing us to visit with you here today. And, I'm happy to see our COVID restrictions are slowly dropping. And so one of these days we'll be able to travel again. And I'll be down there in person to, again, hopefully meet everybody there face to face. So Commissioner Herzog and Pash, I look forward to that day. Again, thanks for having us with this brief overview. And I would again throw Ryan's name out there, just as he's based right out of Coos Bay and again manages an office in Brookings as your most local contact. But certainly, we get down there, we'll share contact information, and please don't ever hesitate to call us on anything kind of on that fire or forestry related activities there. So I have nothing further, and again, just want to thank you all for your time this morning.
Ryan?
Nothing from me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Come down and see us soon. No big fires, though. Thank you all again.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye now. I do. Oh, you need this?
Well, we're done. We got it.
Okay. I was just gonna go shut it off.
So I'm looking for a motion. This is an action item, isn't it?
I don't know, what is the action?
It is an action item.
Yeah. But they do want, on the Lobster, is it the Lobster Hill sale?
Brad, how would that motion, it says D, 8D is presentation. Would it be for the timber sale project?
I don't know what the motion is.
Yeah, this really sounds
Looks
like
like a presentation.
You know, it says, the brief background says it's to provide, the brief background says provide the commissioners information, and they would like to update commissioners on an upcoming project.
I'm looking, guys, because I think, let's see. Where was the part on the lobster piece there? Why am I not seeing it?
Back at page 2.
Or
Oh, you
page
just
5.
passed it.
Whatever you see, read it to me if you would. Well, I'm
I'm just not seeing any.
Well, I looked at something and I don't find it now, so I didn't have it in my notes. I don't see it on my screen here. Bear with us 1 second, guys. Yes, it was a presentation, but they wanted permission and our county support on, it was 2.2 million board feet, I think. Why do I not have, oh, here it is. North Lobster, Gold Beach Road, proposed 2021 sale, Curry County. It's on the map. So is gross acres 384. So is there any reason we can't turn that to an action item?
I suppose you could just make a motion in support and of the sale if you want to just motion that you support it. I'm not sure. I don't see that. I'm just not seeing where.
It's on the map, John, the bottom of the map.
No, it's on the bottom of the map says
Yes, sir.
what?
North Lobster, Gold Beach Road, proposed 2021 sale, Curry County. The coordinates are T34S.
Oh, I see that, but I'm just wondering I'm not seeing where they're, usually you get a letter from somebody and they say, we're asking you to do this or we're asking you to do that. And that's the part that I'm having a hard time
We can
pulling
do
out
that
of the
then.
materials. But I think you could just say, you could entertain a motion to support the sale if you want. But I don't know that it's required. Maybe under these NEPA, a local government, comment is desired, but it sounds, so maybe you do that.
Well, it would be another 3 weeks, so I'll go ahead and make a motion. In principle, I support and ask the board to make a motion to ask the board to support the North Lobster, 384 acres of sale in Curry County, and we have the coordinates there, and I'm looking for a second on that.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Thank you, Council Huddle, for the help on that. Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
Council Huddle, I am going to write them and just say, hey, we need something a little more official, but we give them general support today. How's that, sir?
See what they need.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Sheriff Ward, hi.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could ask the board if he could move to discussion item number G.
Yep.
I have to go, and I'd like to be here while you discuss that.
Okay.
So that's the next one anyway. Good, thank you.
Actually, you got
Oh,
one.
no, it isn't.
Well,
You're right.
It's a couple down, but
If that's okay.
Yeah, you're,
Title III.
We did it for Wendy, we can do it for you.
Okay. Second line, that's fine.
so let me, oh, God, it just disappeared. Title III projects, this is always a challenge. Council Huddle, you're always helping figure it out, though. Brief background, we are awarded Title III monies to spend on projects. Title III process requires a 45-day notice period for the county to receive comments on proposed projects. The notice is attached. This will complete the steps to authorize projects for Title III spending this year. What we, Sheriff, help me out here, or Council Huddle, or both. I mean, it has to be for search and rescue almost exclusively, the funds. Now, there's two terms that they use. You probably are very aware of this. First, you have to obligate the funds, and then you initiate the funds. And there's about a year process between the two, so it's a little complex. This $500,000 we did for the Sheriff's Department, wasn't that in 2018, or is that right, too?
Somewhere around there, we obligated $500,000 out of that Title III funds for search and rescue. And we hadn't, I think we used it once prior to that, but this is a pretty good expense, so we wanted to make sure we jumped through all the hoops exactly how requirements for spending Title III. And again, this is for the purchase of a snowcat. I think the total price, along with the trailer that it rides on, is $194,000 thereabouts. We did do a press release at the time. We did a search, and at the time that I ordered the snowcat through Tucker Snowcat in Medford, and we had nothing but positive comments, not one negative comment from the public about purchasing this equipment. I'm pretty excited because this is a milestone for Curry County. We don't have anything like this that will go up into the snow and help rescue people in a much quicker time. And it's going to be the only one on the coast that I know of. There's, I think, Jackson County has two, Josephine County has one, and then I believe Douglas County has one. But nothing on the coast, and it's going to be not only help Curry County, but our neighboring counties to help search and save lives of people. So pretty excited about it. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys didn't have any more questions. That's why I stopped by.
Very helpful. Pull that left microphone down there. Just the left microphone, pull it down there a little bit. Thank you. I have just a couple of comments or questions. The nice thing about Title III, there's no pressure on you to spend this, so you're going to have a good balance, correct me if I'm wrong, for an indefinite period of time.
Yes, prior to 2018, and I just spoke about Title III this last week over at the Sheriff's Institute on the new sheriffs. I was one of the presenters about search and rescue and Title III funds, and I basically, as said right from the start, I'm not an expert on Title III. You have to be really an attorney.
Yeah.
And it's a very complicated process to use Title IIIs. Prior to 2018, the restrictions on using Title III was enormous about how you can use them. You had to be in an active search, and it can only be for law enforcement, search and rescue. Now we can purchase equipment for search and rescue, for training. We can use it for salaries and things like that on force, anytime we go up on a forest land for any type of search and rescue activity. So it's going to be helpful for us to be able to acquire some more equipment if needed. And so I'm pretty excited about that as well.
Sheriff, stay there for just a minute if you would. Thank you. Commissioner Herzog, actually, and Council Huddle, remind me, that same time, and I want to say October 2018, we initiated or set aside, it showed the intent for Harbor Fire. I think, was it 20,000? I'm drawing a blank, but I think that's about what it was. And then Coos Force Protective was 60, maybe something like that?
I don't know the numbers. It was under a FireWise issue. You could use it for that. But like I said, I think that was in May of 2018 when they lifted restrictions. It was after that you guys put out the notice of obligation of the funds. And you're right, when you obligate the funds, then we for projects, and we can submit whatever we want for the projects. Once we spend that, it has to be certified by February 1st of the following year. So when we'll take, for instance, a snowcat, when we pay for that, come February 1st, we have to fill out the paperwork, and Brad's going to have to do that and certify that we spent this money for this purpose.
Yeah, and also you mentioned you wanted to keep abreast of, all the requirements and, the fine tuning, and I think you have. I mean, there's nothing that we're behind on.
There's nothing. I've talked to Rocky McVeigh about it. I feel comfortable. I've talked to County Council. He's felt comfortable on how we handle things, so we're not worried about any repercussion because there shouldn't ever be any.
No, I knew you hear what the complexity of it. You hear other counties mention. Oh boy, yeah, you have to be. I mean, you have to spend a lot of time to be completely informed on that.
Well, the main thing is we did obligate the money, and so we submitted a project for it, which we required. We did a 45-day notice, and I ordered it during a
legitimate
ongoing search and rescue activity on national forest lands. So we've met all the requirements.
Two of our U.S. senators both were really instrumental in relaxing, at least somewhat, those restrictions on how that search and rescue money could be spent. So
I believe it was, Walden was involved in that.
Yes.
Along with actually Jason Myers, who was the Marion County Sheriff at the time, and Sheriff Matt English were very instrumental on getting the restrictions lifted so we could use that for what we need.
Well, thank you. And so you're looking for a motion here, right?
I think council brought that up as a motion, not a motion, but a discussion order to say we've met the requirements.
Although this is also the order to obligate, and so and yeah, it is. So basically, we had heard about the rescue requiring the snowcat use, and the sheriff put in for the project. He put out a press release in February, 45-day comment period. We put notice out to take comments. The sheriff's only heard positive comments. We're concluding the notice period, and after the notice period, we can obligate for the projects. And so we've got an order to obligate the $500,000 for SAR projects for the sheriff. So that's what we're doing today.
And just so you know, we're picking it up Friday.
All right.
Yeah.
If it doesn't handle like a jet boat, don't worry about training me, okay?
No, there's no rocks for it yet.
So no further.
Yeah, there's snow. There's plenty of snow still, so we're going to go up and train on it. We're going to meet up in Medford at Tucker Snowcat. I'm taking 4 SAR guys. I don't want to butcher their names or who. I'm pretty sure it's Chris Coleman, Dennis Hoffman, Steve DeChico, and Ryan McGinnis. They're going to be the
That's
snowcat.
a great bunch.
You can't get any better than that.
That's a great bunch.
And they're going to be the operators of the snowcat. So if one's not available, the other one can, and so the other ones, they're going to go over there and they're going to take us up on Mount Ashland. There's 85 acres that's owned up there that has snow on it. That they're going to train us on the use of it, and then we're going to bring it back over here and we're going to put it to work. I also have not obligation, but I want to dedicate that machine to a past SAR member, but I'll get to that later on.
Okay.
So I need a motion to approve this order.
So moved.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Call for the question, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Sheriff, thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it. I gotta head out.
Hey, thanks, John.
Okay, the next one is order amending procedure to appoint camp host. Creek, is that yours?
Is E?
What?
We're doing,
We already did E.
E was moved to presentations, so now we're on F.
Okay.
Curry County does not currently have an environment. Is that the one we're on?
No, we
No,
skipped
no.
over the camp host to take the sheriff out of order. We got to go back to camp host.
Yeah, okay, that's what I started to say. Thank you, guys.
No, that's okay.
So I had it and then it disappeared. Here we go. Prior June 3rd, 2020, the Board of Commissioners appointed camp hosts. In 2020, the board adopted an order delegating camp host hiring and removal authority to the Director of Operations. Since that time, the county appointed and removed 3 different hosts at Boyce Cove Park. Commissioner Boyce sought to reestablish commissioners as appointing authority. The board directed staff to bring back an order establishing a procedure involving the liaison commissioner. Director Rickard, are you able to speak to this, or?
Yeah, this is, and Council Huddle did all the work on this, so maybe he wants to as well, but this is just a summary in the form of an order of what the board discussed last meeting on the procedure to interview and hire camp hosts. So it, like I said, it exactly follows what was discussed in that meeting and agreed upon in that meeting.
Well, no, I didn't agree to that, but that's, okay,
No,
so.
okay, the board.
Question I have, have we hired Boyce Cove Park host yet?
Yes.
Were you involved in that
Yeah,
discussion?
I was on the board, or the panel that 4 of us interviewed.
So I want the public to know my sentiments on this. I was not allowed, the only way I can get information on the park applicants is to do a public records request, and to do that I have to pay out of my personal pocket. So of course that rubs me the wrong way. No commissioner should ever be denied information like that. And so I'm disappointed in that. Mr. Rickard, did you do the final approval on that for the new park host?
It was me and Commissioner Herzog.
So are they going to be at least introduced to the board and the public?
Have they I don't know what's generally taken place. Do park hosts generally get introduced to?
Well, I just think it's good
or
business.
Or are you asking, will the board be informed of that decision?
Yeah, see, that's the part that really rubs me the wrong way, if I may, is that the board to be informed. What are we here for if we're not here to make sure that we do our homework and are involved? I appreciate that you were able to call in, and I'm relieved because I didn't know if you were able to participate, Commissioner Herzog.
Yeah, it was face-to-face, actually before I left. And
So that was 2 weeks ago, and I just find out now, confirmed, that we have a new park host.
It was signed this morning, and I was going to include that in my director's report.
Okay.
Today.
But it's still 2 weeks later after you helped make the decision. I think the commissioners, I want the public to know my opinion. Strong preference is that the commissioners take their responsibility and jointly together make that decision. I see it as bad policy, and I'm sure they'll be fine. I hope they'll be fine, but I feel like my responsibility has been taken away here, and that's not good business. Again, bad policy. So that's all I have on that. So the order that we're working on, Council Huddle, did you want to add anything?
Well, just a little clarification. If you look on page 2 in the packet, the order is there. I followed the meeting. It was pretty long discussion. There was a motion made multiple times, and I believe this, captures the intent of the motion. The one interesting part on the panel, it says who is on the application review panel, and it talks about the Parks Coordinator, Liaison Commissioner, Economic Development Director or Assistant, and Code Enforcement Officer, Deputy or Assistant. So there was some discussion as to who would be on the panel and how do we know, and so this is where the board is saying who will be on that panel. And it was trying to make sure there's, for lack of a better word, transparency or trust, that, you know, that the panel is designated by the board as well. So the board is having more control over who reviews those. The Parks Coordinator, Liaison Commissioner, Economic Development Director or Assistant, and then the Code Enforcement Officer, Deputy or Assistant. So those are the people who are most likely to interface with a park host during that. So, and again, because the Liaison Commissioner's involved, we're trying to make sure that at least the board has a voice in the process, if not the entire board. So, and then the rest is directly per the steps outlined in the motions, as close as I could follow.
Thank you, Council Huddle. So we know that in that panel, there are some solid friendships. So I don't know if those have been declared or if the board is aware. I don't need to keep repeating, but this is really a surprise to me, and I would not do that to another commissioner under any circumstances, keep any information from them. Did you have just one applicant, or did you have several?
Had three applicants.
Okay.
And I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize for that. I'm in full agreement now that you are correct in that commissioners shouldn't be held back on information. So in the future, you know, you'll have my full, oh, go ahead, John.
Well, that could come up under Commissioner comments. The board could make a rule that commissioners have access to certain information, or be careful what you wish for. So if the rule is that essentially any commissioner could ask any staff member or department director for any information and is entitled to any information, you know, that doesn't have some legal thing that has to be done in exec session, I would like time to kind of review the ins and outs of that, but I think it's something the board has authority to do and because it hadn't been done, I actually, as the public record custodian, there's a doctrine out there that says an individual commissioner is a citizen. An individual commissioner, you know, we have to have 2 out of 3 unless it's been delegated to an individual commissioner, as here, the liaison commissioner is being delegated. And if we made something delegating to an individual commissioner to review record requests at the department level, is, you know, maybe it says as long as it's reviewed by, you know, council and director, who knows what. But I think we just want to have some sideboards on that, because I think you could see a lot of staff time. I think you might want to say you can have X number or X hours or something. So I understand the sentiment. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it'll be a lot more efficient than doing public record requests. And
Councilman, if I may,
go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
That's okay. You're making good sense, and I wanted to hear Commissioner Herzog complete his statement there. This is why we have Commissioner Liaison, and that's why no other county does this. They are shocked when I'm saying, how do you do it there? They are absolutely, former commissioners are absolutely shocked. You had to pay how much for what to get information? No other county does that. And so that's why I'm just a little bit passionate about this, and I'm protecting future commissioners. I don't want to, you know, through the commissioner liaison responsibility, it's your honor system. You know, you're going to go to the department head and say, hey, this is what I heard, help me out here. You're not going to go to leapfrog over that department head. That's bad business too. So I agree with you there, except that, you know, I'm almost reluctant to go to Boyce Cope and introduce myself as a commissioner and wish somebody well, because I wonder if I'll be out of my, I almost said something there, I'll be out of my lanes. I mean, that's a park that means professionally and personally something.
Well, I don't think you,
thank you.
I don't think
have to worry about that. If I had to make a guess, you probably made a very good decision. It's just the process, the final approval is the responsibility of the Board of Commissioners. So I'm going to vote no on this today if we have a motion, and just it's out of respectful decline. Go ahead, Council Huddle.
Well, I'm just wondering, you did say if we have a motion, and I know Commissioner Pash isn't here. I thought there was some discussion that he might arrive later. You know, we're coming up 15 minutes on the noon hour. not sure if we're going to finish our business meeting.
Trying to get us there, but good point.
Well,
Good point.
yeah, and I'm trying to just see if we can get a decision on this, other than just continue it to another meeting. But it's up to the board if the board wants to either have for instance, my hunch is if you had a motion on this, you'd perhaps have one yes vote and one no vote, and then technically we have no decision.
That's correct.
So it's not a denial, it's just not even a decision.
Gotcha.
So
so we can move on.
But also it basically just hangs out there unanswered, and so it could be re-brought up at a but so maybe just continuing this. It's just up to you all. But if by the way, if you don't adopt this, we're still left with the status quo, which is director makes all decisions on camp hosts. So that's the thing. If we don't adopt this order today,
So we move these people in?
Yeah, they signed the contract this morning.
Good, okay. I would like to have seen the contract, and you said you're going to bring that up.
Yeah, I was
Okay, I'd
gonna
like to have
mention
something ahead of time next time. This doesn't work for me, but I don't want to uproot somebody or anything like that or give them any anxiety. That would be wrong, but you can see, I think you can understand why I have some apprehension here and some respectful pushback.
Okay. No, and I would assume that Mr. Durock would probably bring that person around and introduce them to commissioners and whoever else needs that. So I would expect to meet them here in the future as he brings them around and makes those introductions. And I think what, Council, were you saying on this order, maybe just delaying this till later today?
it's a choice of the board, but currently we're at a impasse, more or less. But also, if there's no action on this order, the existing order remains, giving all authority to the director to appoint and remove park hosts. So I understand, Commissioner Boyce, you're saying you won't approve this, but if you don't approve this, the status quo is what we have. So,
if we have a new park host that everybody's content with, I don't want to send the wrong message. So, Council Huddle, thank you. I will rescind my comment that I'm not going to support this. So if you're ready to make a motion, I've stated my case and I will support it, but I will be trying to change it over time.
Well, I'm okay with it being as, the way it is right now, and then if you're talking about changing the
I would go back, yes, I would say,
changing this,
go ahead and let Director Rickert be responsible.
Yeah.
With your input as Parks Liaison, with County Council's input, and then, yes, when and if I have the time, I'm going to bring it back, and I would say, no, these hires need full board approval. You may or may not support that at that time, I don't know. So we can just leave the status quo and let Director Rickert go forward, and with your oversight, and what do you think there?
Well, see, you're just looking for new wording in this order?
Very likely, yeah, for the future. We're going to have, I assume we'll have a Lobster Creek camp host at some point. We'll have...
Yeah, Lobster Creek has traditionally operated differently than Boyce Cove.
I know, but we've had a camp host up there in the past, and so we may even have a second camp host at Boyce Cove at some point. That would be my preference.
Yep, and we're looking to do that.
I'm going to suggest we let this go, and status quo remains, and we'll bring it up later if necessary, if you're okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, so it's 12 minutes till. Director Rickert, I want to give you maybe the last word there.
But no, I don't know that I have it. Maybe I'll just say this, that all applicants were run through a commissioner at the time. It wasn't you, it wasn't Commissioner Pash, but it was the liaison commissioner. And so I guess as far as commissioners being responsible, as you put it, for that kind of, for all those things, Commissioner Herzog as a liaison commissioner is in that role of being responsible and looking at all of the applicants.
Yeah, I was quite relieved. I felt like I had to fight just to get one commissioner on that panel, because that was not the past practice after July 20th, and as you know, that's not been good policy in my opinion. So, okay, can we move off of that then, gentlemen?
So that item essentially is tabled, more or less, or just continued indefinitely, or?
Either Commissioner, one of the three of us may bring it back, only under a different form. I don't know.
Okay, I think just a motion to continue indefinitely makes the most sense then on that, just so there's some record of an action on the item versus, I mean, I guess no action. JJ, how would you handle that in the minutes if they?
That's fine.
Okay, no motion? All right, no motion, that's fine.
I think we're fine for now. I think it's going to come back.
Thanks, JJ.
So then we're going to, excuse me, you're okay with that? Yep. I want to make double sure. Okay, 8, are we at 8H?
Yes.
Environmental Health Services Memorandum of Understanding with Josephine County. Public Health Administrator Ward. I saw her. Oh, there she is. You have to take the podium and adjust the microphone, please.
Because your tall husband was in here.
He's still taller than me, even with my highest heels.
And he did good, but he won't do as good as you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Board. We're here today because we have a memorandum of understanding that we need to get signed with Josephine County. Currently, Public Health has environmental health services, and with our environmental health services, unfortunately, we lost our environmental health coordinator back in the beginning of February. With the light of what we need to do is, what they are responsible for is inspections of restaurants, food, pool, and lodging, as well as drinking water systems. And so in the meantime, those inspections need to happen. So we have got to get somebody at least hired. We do have applications out for that, but in the meantime, inspections are starting to fall behind. And we want to make sure that we stay compliant with the state regarding any type of inspections. And so I have reached out, started conversations with Josephine County middle of February, asking if they would be willing to come and help us out interim time while we are still trying to locate an environmental health coordinator. And they have agreed to go ahead and come to Curry County to help with their inspections. They will go ahead and get us updated as well. So through June 30th. And so at this point in time, what they are, I gave them a proposal basically of what we were looking at. They have the same state health system as we do, and so they will get us currently up to going. I can tell you at this moment, we have approximately, I believe, food services, about 130. Needing, at the time that we were in this discussion, we were looking at about 95 inspections to happen. As we continually keep going forward, they're on a renewal basis. So every 6 months they have to renew like inspections and permits. And so now we are up to 111 inspections that need to happen. So we have to start getting those inspections currently going. Josephine County has been a fabulous partner for us so far and are willing to go ahead and do this. So the proposal that is in front of you is the Memorandum of Understanding, as well as they're willing to send us and kind of wipe us out, basically, get us back in current as much as possible. By sending 2 of their environmental health specialists over, coordinator specialists, to be here and kind of looked at the proposal of 20 days of being able to get everything ironed out for us. What the cost is going to be their employee cost, as well as lodging, meals, incidentals, and the travel time to be able to get that. So the cost on that program estimate is approximately $1,400 or $14,000. And so what you have to understand is when we did this proposal, that was when we weren't seeing a more of a renewal basis. So no more than $16,000 for them to go ahead and do our inspections to get us up through June 30th of this year. So we stay fiscally compliant with our grants as well. And so I've worked with Director Rickard in regards to, he got a MOU up and going for us in regards to that, and I'm asking for board approval to go ahead and sign so we can get this to the commissioners over there in Josephine County, get us signed and get us up and going on inspections. One thing I do want to let you know, it's even like with new restaurants. Obviously, we just had Coastal Cups, you know, people opening up and wanting to open up. We don't want to stop our economy. We don't want to stop people from opening, and they do have to have inspections. So we want to make sure that they at least were able to provide a type of service for them to be able to keep those restaurants going as well. So.
Yes, sir.
Sherry, what will happen with the shutdown on Friday the 26th?
That's the board's decision. I can tell you basically restaurants, and I didn't bring my high-risk extreme, but we are currently, as of Friday, we will be in extreme. And so what will happen is they will go down in capacities, and like I said, I didn't bring the chart with me, but we will be in extreme level. And I do know that the capacities will go down as well, and then certain restaurants may end up having to do takeout only. I mean, they may be shut down to takeout only as well. Like I said, I'm not your environmental health guru, but I did send that out. If I would have brought the list, I could have kind of told you exactly where we were. But like I said, it is going to hurt our economy. The restaurants are going to have a very difficult time, this back and forth, up and down situation. And so it does make it very challenging for our consumers. But you have to understand we still have grants and compliances and state compliances that we have to do, and restaurants are part of health and safety. And so we have to make sure if they are still conducting business and sending out food, there still has to be inspections of those foods and mandates that are happening.
One more question?
Certainly.
So I was talking to Brad the other day, and I said, I wonder what and hopefully you can fill us in. I said, what are the recommendations, what do you have to do to get a food handler's, or inspection license?
Oh, food handler's permit?
Well, no, just if we wanted to do our, the guy that fired, or not fired, the guy that quit, he was our inspector.
Mm-hmm.
So what would I have to do, or what would a commissioner have to do to become an inspector? Maybe the commissioners should be the inspectors.
Oh, boy, you better have good thermometers.
I think the odd part there is you probably would have some type of conflict. The commissioners are the local authority who oversee the inspectors, so I don't think you could oversee yourself. So I think I love the spirit and the
No, I love the concept. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to be cleaning bathrooms before this is all over with.
But I think you've got to have a separation of powers there for, just that concept there, so.
Never mind.
Administrator Ward,
But if it wasn't a commissioner, what would it take for
Yeah.
some citizen to be qualified to be an inspector?
Well, I can tell you that based on work plans and as we've gone through that in regards to that, I do know that we do eventually have to have somebody in the state's eyes certified. We could employ somebody and get them certified within 18 months. Of certification. So, I mean, there are requirements that the state has, but at this point, we just really need to start getting the inspections back up and running, because here, as a good leader, as the supervisor of that department at the moment, I don't want to set a new employee up or anybody up to fail. So and we all know, I came in under a sinking ship, and we know what the fiasco we've had with public health. A good leader is going to set them up to succeed, not to set them up to fail. And I cannot see going so far behind on inspections and then trying to bring a new environmental health coordinator, whoever it is, whether we're trying to get them, certified, or whether we end up getting a person who is certified, and have 60, 80, 100 inspections that need to happen, and they're trying to play catch up on top of everything else that's already starting to renew. And so graciously, Josephine County is willing to take that on and keep us compliant and keep us up and going while we continue to recruit or hire somebody at that juncture. And I just don't want to see somebody trying to bury out. It's not fun burying out of a job. I will tell you that right now. I am tired of bailing, and I don't want to set my staff up for that either. And I want to build a very vigorous team. And so if we set them up to fail and give them, oh, you start, in 2 months and you've got 150 inspections to do, I don't think that's fair. That's not fair to them.
Just for clarification, I am in favor of what you're proposing. So this was not to not be in favor of this. This was just going forward after we get caught up.
Yeah.
So I'm on board with you. on
Okay,
this.
I like I said, it was one of those things I immediately knew it had to happen,
Yeah.
so.
Director Rickert.
I do want to point out also that the wages that we were paying the previous environmental health director, or whatever, I don't know his title, were about $7,500 a month, including benefits. So this contract, or this MOU, will take us through the end of June. So we're looking at a wash or a pretty decent deal here with accepting it. So that's just some information to make that $16,000 number seem a little smaller.
Yeah, thank you. Good. Administrator Ward, you said we're down how many inspections now? Did I get
Well, approximately, I can tell you, hang on a quick second, where's that out?
just roughly?
Roughly for restaurants, about 111. You got to remember that we were at 95, needing 95 inspections back in beginning of February. Back when Kent was here, our environmental coordinator, we also have drinking water systems as well that have to be certified. We do have approximately 39 drinking water systems currently in Curry County in our inventory. Most of those water systems were due for survey in 2020, have been completed, but we do have a couple of them, there's about 3 or so of them that need to be completed as well from 2020 on top of the new inspections. Then we also have RV parks and camping facilities. We have 35 estimate. Like I said, we're still trying to dig into where all of these are. Environmental health clerk Shelby Kelly has been vigorously helping me with a spreadsheet on all of our RVs and parks and which need to be inspected. And at the time when I wrote this email inquiring on whether or not they'd be able to help us, we were sitting at 31. Now we're sitting at 33 inspections for RVs that are going to need to be happening because the renewals happen. It's every 6 months on the time that an RV space needs to, or RV facility and camping needs to be evaluated. And then same thing, we've got our school food services facilities, food, pool and lodgings, and spas. We have 19 and needing inspection. At the time was 14, now we've gone up to approximately 17. So as I said, we just really, the longer we go without inspections, the harder it's going to be for us to get caught back up. And I don't want to see
One more real
us that way.
quickly. Did I hear they're coming over, 2 people coming over for 2 days a week?
For 20
days.
20 days,
20
I think it
days.
is. 20 days, for 20 days.
Great. I'm ready.
I move that we
Accept this MOU?
accept this MOU with the Environmental Health Services Memorandum of Understanding with Josephine County.
I second that. Any further discussion? Call for the question, Staff Jesuit, please.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes?
Chair Boyce.
Aye.
Motion carried 2-0.
We've got just 2 more real quick. I want to talk about the, thanks very much. Good work, everybody, on that. On the 12:16 minutes, update on departments. Here's what was quoted. Can I abbreviate? Yes. Update on departments who work remotely. Brad Rickert, DCO Rickert, noted that there were a handful, I'm reading direct here, a handful of departments working remotely, observed most departments are back in the office, commented some departments are still working remotely as it's working well, and stated he thinks managers are being responsible on how they are handling staffing. Pash stated he doesn't think it is the commissioner's job to tell department heads what to do. Gold stated she is fine with that. Boyce commented he doesn't know how anyone can be productive at home. That's not what I said. What I said was, I don't know how anyone could be as productive at home. So I want that clarification. If you want to go back and watch the video, you'll see that, yeah, people can be productive at home, just not as productive as they can be in the office. So I wanted that correction, if I could beg for the approval of the board.
Pardon me, I'm sorry.
Are you getting hungry for lunch?
Yeah, I had a brain gas there.
Okay, I'm going to read just the last. Boyce commented he doesn't know how anyone can be productive at home. What I said was, I don't know how anyone could be as productive at home as they can in their
Okay.
office. So I just want that clarified. All the other minutes look great. JJ. Thank you.
So moved.
Second that. Any further discussion? Call for the question.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
The last one, gentlemen, thank you very much, was only on the CCD Coos Curry Douglas Board of Directors. The reason I pulled that is just to give just a quick report, and then I think we can go to lunch here, subject to the board's approval. Coos Curry Douglas, I actually served on that board like SCD, South Coast Business Employment Corporation, I'm sorry, clear back in the late 80s, back in the Tony Kuhn days when it was first established. When we needed to get some of our funding out at the end of December there, Coos Curry Douglas did a phenomenal job. Economic Development Coordinator Madison and I worked really hard on putting that whole thing together in such a short period of time that the state gave us. So yes, I want to be put back on that board, and also Summer Madison is going to be secretary, which I think is an honor for her especially, but both of us. And I would like to, I pulled that out of consent agenda only so I could make that quick report. And also I see some things that they're doing in the future that is going to even be more beneficial to Curry County and our citizens. It's one of the best boards that I serve on, and just really happy to be able to participate. So thank you for allowing me that additional time there.
So you're not currently on that board?
Oh, yes, I am, but I'm just asked to be reappointed.
Well, there's an order appointing, isn't there?
Appoint members to CCD Board of Directors.
And then
Yep.
who's in the order? I thought you were in the order.
Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I better double check. That is...
I can't get there for some reason.
The email dated March 17th, Development Corporation representative requested the Board of Commissioners reappoint Court Boyce, Brett Curtis, Jody Fritz, Tammy Kaufman, Randy Mason, Summer Madison, and Martin Van Otterloo, all really good representatives of Curry County, by the way. And yes, thank you, Council Huddle, because I should not have overlooked any of those people that I just read off there.
And JJ, is that reflected in the order? Okay, that is, your appointment is reflected in the order then.
Great, so we just need to approve that. Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So I moved that. So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Pash is absent. Vice Chair Herzog.
Yes.
Chair Boyce.
Thank you, JJ. Yes.
Motion carried 2-0.
And we can finish, or we can go to lunch. I think we better go to lunch, huh? I'm ready.
Yep.
So it's 12:07. We're going to take a short lunch. We need you back here 1 o'clock to finish our day, and then, correct me if I'm wrong, Director Ricker, we're going to go into workshop, and the executive sessions will not be till after that.
Well, we
Late
may
in
have
the
time
day.
for part of the executive session before
That's a
the
good
workshops,
point.
but we'll just see how it goes.
Yes, good for you. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Bring it back. Those pens suck.
Today's day, welcome. It is March 24th, 2021, Curry County, Oregon Board of Commissioners, resuming our general session. Next on the agenda is the director's report, please.
So I have four things. Some time ago, we talked about having the state take on the collection of the TLT tax. After staff has researched that and analyzed it more, it is found to be more cost-effective to keep that in-house. It will cost us about $25,000 per year to have the state take over collection of that tax, whereas staff will do it at about under $1,600 a year. So then we will continue to administer and just administer the collection of those taxes. Next thing I have, we briefly talked about this earlier, so the Parks Camp host, I did sign the contract today for a new camp host out at Boyce Cope Park. Her name is Megan Haggerty. And so, like as I said, I'm sure Tony will be bringing her around to meet the commissioners and other individuals that are needed. Next thing on my list is, again, we talked briefly about this, the environmental health position. We did receive in 2 viable applicants, which are being forwarded on to Director Ward to review and possibly bring in for interviews. My last item is more just a comment. Our next business meeting is on the 14th, which is 3 weeks from today, and not the normal 2 weeks. So just so that everybody is aware of that. That's all I have.
Commissioner Pash? I have just a couple things. First, I was handed by a citizen in the county the new SWAC college schedules. I'm sorry. Thank you, Eric. This morning, or earlier this week, I was handed the new SWAC academic program schedules for this spring. Again, the county sends over $2 million a year to taxpayers pay into SWAC. Not one academic class at SWAC this next semester. Where do our tax dollars go? One more thing I have quickly is last meeting we had the Marine Corps League Calvin E. Murphy detachment in. We are going to be starting a drive out here to put some flyers out and asking anyone in the community that is interested to please contact Bob Gilmore, who's the Commandant of the Calvin E. Murphy Detachment 578 in Brookings. And if you need that contact information, please email me here at the county or call me here at the county and I'll get that for you. This is a great organization. They help a lot of families every year, do a lot of public functions that no one else wants to do. They step out and do it. And I would just appreciate if there's anyone out there that is interested to please contact me. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Boyce, that guy's next. Question, or just a comment, on Southwest Oregon Community College, did we encourage you to be the liaison there?
Well, yeah, I actually am going to meet with Doug Bunn. We kind of emailed while I was on vacation, and I will, I got one.
Okay.
Thanks, Bud, but I'm in agreement with you, Chris. So I'm going to touch base with him. This week is a little bit wild, but hopefully next week.
Just so you know, I've got commitments, if I could, Commissioner, Chair?
Yes.
I've got commitments from some people, if they want to do some vocational stuff out there.
That's the one we made the changes to.
I got commitments from people that'd love to do some vocational, get some kids and do some vocational schooling out there, do some classroom stuff at night.
Yeah.
Like Freeman Marine.
Yeah.
Do some classroom training at night on, say, welding. The next day, go out and actually do the welding. So, I mean, those kind of things. So, that would be a great fit for working jobs for this community. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I'm sitting between you two. We all care about Southwest Oregon Community College. Was on a conference call with President Ellis, Patty. I want to say Ellis. Why am I drawing a blank? My apologies. And Dean Dunn a few days ago, and I've invited them to make a presentation on the 28th. And we'll be able to ask them some questions. My intent, and I didn't mean to leave you out of this, but it just, for the same reason the magazine that you just displayed there, I think, and I was able to communicate that to them. But I also want to start over with them, and I think that's where you would really be a key, because we got off on the wrong foot with them, and, you know, we had the meeting down there, and Commissioner Gold was there, and things didn't go that well. And so I'm hoping we can start over, and I would like to have them follow through with their commitment to come and just be available. They'll Zoom, I would assume. Again, it's on the 28th. And, you know, I don't want to put them on the carpet, but I do want to be able to build with them and express concerns like you just did. And I think that will, I think that'll help us start over. I'm not complaining about the past, but again, because it is so important, since it is an incredible facility, campus, yeah, it's, and I think they're open to vocational ideas, and that's been discussed, and I think that's a good approach. So, also, on your report, Director Rickert, I didn't quite catch, are we still looking at working with the state on the TLT, or what's your thoughts on that?
No, we're not. It is not cost effective to go that route. We don't collect enough TLT. That takes up, or the time that it takes to collect the TLT does not amount to that much. Like I said, it'll cost staff about less than $1,600 a year estimated, as opposed to having the state do it at $25,000 a year.
I'm sorry I missed that. You did say that. Okay. I didn't miss it, but it didn't click. So thank you. And that's, I think we've put that to rest then.
I think so.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next thing I have, I've written the Oregon Senate Republicans, and tough letter. But some of you remember the full session in 2019, they walked out because some of the legislation was so bad for rural Oregon. You know, it just, they were backed into a corner as a minority party that they didn't have any choice. And things are worse this time. Most people are following legislature. I won't go into a lot of separate bills. I certainly will on the 14th. The ones that survived that I think have the negative impact on Curry County and our citizens. And I'm following that real closely. And it's a heck of a thing to recommend that those leaders leave the building and avoid having a quorum, so that because they have, as the supermajority takes control, has taken control, plus they have the governor as backup, and some of this legislation that I'm sure they're quite committed to is good and fair and just and good for Oregonians, but rural Oregon they're at their wits' end. And I just hate to see it, because nobody's reaching across the line except for the Republicans. Not to overstate it, but certainly, you know, very qualified, talented legislators like David Brock-Smith. And there's others out there. Lily Morgan is doing an incredible job. You know, the South Coast is very well represented. So I won't read this letter. It was a tough one to send out, but I did it on the 22nd. I basically just said, as just one commissioner, I'm going to support you, because I don't see we have any choice. Our liberties are absolutely being taken from us at all levels of government. That's why, you know, as a county citizen or county commissioner, I try really hard to have as little impact from a controlling capacity at the county level as I can possibly avoid for our citizens to have. So this letter's available. It'll be on the website, and I'm going to get a lot of kickback on it from even moderates. But if they knew and followed what these people that I'm following know, I think they would understand, and most would support. So the community development block grant, we're still up for that. Director Rickert, I'm going to be, I haven't contacted you on it recently. I did about a month ago, and I know you're pretty busy, but it's a very important project. It's akin to the $1.6 million that we had on the Head Start program at Brookings. We're going to be running out of time here a little bit. There's a good project in Port Orford. I haven't seen a project in Gold Beach yet, but it would be Port Orford's turn, probably. I know that we have discussed the Veterans Building, and You know, I've had a little bit of resistance to that until I found out now that we're just looking at 176,000. I think that was a quote on siding and some roof work and some interior, but wasn't it about 170,000?
I think there are two different things. I think that the 170,000 is work that they're trying to get done currently, not through the CBDG grant. CBDG grant was looking at a possible tear down and rebuild of the entire building. That grant, I have pushed that back just due to time constraints to later this year for the second application round instead of the first
just
one.
the Veterans Building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm aware of or that I've been looking at.
Yeah, but I sent you information on the Port Orford Community Development Center.
When did you send that?
About a month ago.
Resend it to me,
And,
please.
and if you made a decision arbitrarily to push that back, that's something I'm not aware of, and so I need to be aware of that. I think the board needs to be aware of that. And I appreciate your clarification, only I still think the 176 could be on a by application, two applications, one for that 176 through CDBG and one for the Port Orford Community Center, or it's still not too late to have a Gold Beach project or even another Brookings project. So all I really want to get today is that you'll work with me on that and we can see what we can do and what we can potentially get done.
Yeah, and it sounds like can be multiple projects going on at the same time. They just have to fit certain criteria.
It's not easy to have two at the same time, but it's doable.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll look forward to working with you on that. And we just don't want that to fall through the cracks, but then we would lose a year. So, and that may be the best. This is an go ahead.
I just want to say, I don't know if you heard or not, he did ask if you would resend him that email.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that.
I can probably do it here in just a moment, but this is an article that was in the Brookings paper on the 12th of March, and it's a quote from Commissioner Pash, and it's, I want to clear the record here on, it has to do with, the article was on Director of Operations going to Finance Department, and it says right here, I will restate for the record, yes, we did not want to have a county administrator, Commissioner Chris Pash said. Pash added that Boyce voted in favor of creating the Director of Operations and voted in favor of hiring, says if, but it means of hiring Rickard. We hired Director of Operations Brad Rickard to move here from Utah, bring his family here, and to do the job of Director of Operations, Pash said. You on December 16th voted to make his appointment permanent, and then 4 weeks later asked us to get rid of his job. I went back and looked at the video, and yeah, that's pretty much a direct quote, and I just want I want the public to know that, if I may, whoops. When Brad was hired in 28th of September, I abstained, and I did my very best to eloquently communicate to him that I wanted him to come here really bad, and I wanted him to be a director of finance. So I did not vote to hire him, and then 4 weeks later, get rid of his job. That just was not a good choice of words, and the reason I'm taking this time today is because I want the public to know that I've always supported him. I just, as one commissioner, have a much different priority for what I think his focuses should be, and I've communicated that. So I want the records to show that Commissioner Pash misstated here. I don't know how else I can say it. And when it comes to the 12-16 minutes, we just went through and approved the minutes. There's nothing in the December 16th meeting minutes about me getting rid of his job or anything like that. So even though the quotes are correct, this hurts my reputation, and I'm going to start being very specific on getting the facts out there, and today is going to start that process. So I'm looking forward to working in the future and being very productive as a Board of Commissioners, but I'm not going to let these things go that are totally, completely inaccurate. So I did not vote to have him to have Brad Rickard be our Director of Operations. To the contrary, that's why I abstained, because I didn't want him and his family to think I didn't want him in our employ. And that's why I made it very clear. I wanted him to have the same wage if he moved over. So that's all I have there.
Before you close that, could I comment on that?
Sure.
Okay, what the newspaper article says, and I don't know that it's a 100% accurate quote because there are some misspellings as well, but what it says was we voted to hire Mr. Rickard. And then in December, go to the part where it says in December.
On December 16th, voted to make his appointment permanent.
And that was when we did the evaluation of Mr. Rickard's job, and you said you wanted to move his job forward as permanent, and he actually it was in a temporary position. That's all. I just want to make sure that it's clarified there. That's all I had on.
So you need to go back and find that vote, because I don't think that's accurate, and I absolutely wanted to make his job permanent as finance director and county accountant. That was just my opinion. Okay. I just don't want it to be said that then I tried to get rid of him.
Personally, I'd like to move on from it.
I bet you would. Okay, so next. McKay's Market is opening up a supermarket in Harbor.
Really?
Yeah, and it's, I'm not trying to take the credit here, but I started working with the board. This is an employee-owned program. They have a tremendous reputation. This will be store number 10 on the Oregon coast. And you've heard me say a couple of times, and also Council Huddle has highlighted that, wow, no supermarket in Harbor, no bank. And so now I'm working on Umpqua Bank to see if they would reconsider going back to Harbor, because I'm just concerned that we're starting to lose our middle class down there, and without a bank and a supermarket as two of the primary focuses, our services provided, sends a lot of traffic across the bridge. And so they'll be opening in July, and they're going to have a grand opening.
Where
I'm
at?
sure you'll be, at the grocery outlet.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The old grocery outlet, okay.
And so also, I'm going to read a letter here that I'm really, really happy about, and I'll give you each a copy. Commissioner Cribbins and I have been working a long time on the housing coordinator and other, there's two, and other work through our housing program, and we have $145,000 in total grants thanks to the Association of Oregon Counties, and also the Meyer Memorial Trust Fund that give us $120,000 over a 2-year period. And so that's money in conjunction with Coos County, which I thoroughly trust, and partnering with us here, and that's just really good news. And so a press release went out from NeighborWorks Umpqua. I always want to call North Umpqua, but anyway, they're just a great bunch to work with, and we're just really excited about this. And that's going to be Mike Lehman, who we're bringing out of retirement, who helped us so much with the
Head Start.
Yeah, the Head Start program, and so I can't think of anybody better. He served in the legislature for 6 years. He was the director of ORCA for 9 years, 7 or 9 years, I don't recall. I was his first call. I was quite honored, and we're going to keep building on this, and we're going to be able to turn the corner on our housing, and I'm just as thrilled as I can be. So I won't spend any more time on that. Yes?
I have a question for council, actually, because you're on the board for CAC, right?
For Advanced Health?
Yes.
For the Citizens Advisory Committee, yes, I'm the chair.
Right. So what I'm wondering, council, because I just don't want to have a conflict, and if I'm on the liaison for this housing committee, and I understand that, the CAC is going to be involved through Neighborhood Umpqua, and I just don't want it to seem to the public that, Commissioner Boyce and I both have a say in what could possibly happen with that. So I was just wondering if, from a legal aspect, if you thought there might be a conflict there.
I got to be honest, I'm not understanding the
clarify.
The relationship and the mechanisms of the different groups enough to really say.
You're on the NeighborWorks Umpqua Citizens Advisory?
I'm on the I'm the liaison for the new housing committee that's just been
but there won't be, I'm not going to be doing any voting or,
Okay.
yes.
That's all I wanted for the
And you
public, just to
probably
make
won't be
sure
doing any
we're-
voting either if you're.
No, I won't. I'm just a liaison.
So we're
That's all.
fine. And what I can tell you, in Coos County, all the commissioners are working on housing up there because it's such a big issue.
Absolutely. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure from a legal aspect that we were okay.
Good question.
There's clarity.
It's hard for me to say there is a clear conflict. I'm still don't see the connection, so,
Thank you.
you know, maybe if there becomes a specific issue, we can handle it on an issue-by-issue basis.
Okay, thank you.
So the next thing, real quick here, Senator Merkley, he invited me to be on a statewide media program with my buddy from Morrow County, former AOC president, Peter Doherty, just a great guy. You know, you can click on here and listen to the interview. Doherty actually cut me off at the very end of my presentation, but, you know, Senator Merkley knows that I don't agree with him on a lot of things, but one of the points I was able to make with him in particular as a U.S. Senator is that rural Oregon does not keep him in office, and yet he has never ignored our concerns of Curry County and other rural counties. And so and two, I have to say he has an incredible staff. You know, we lost Amy Amrine not too terribly long ago, retired, and she was just a tremendous resource for me in the county and able to report back. And so this is an honor. This is a lot of media people on there, and only 2 commissioners and some other folks that really contributed the best, I think. And you know, he was pretty proud of the first of all the work he does with Sudden Oak Death, which is strictly a Curry County issue. And he's been, again, he and his staff have been really tuned into that. So. Yeah, we're sometimes criticized because we don't build relationships outside the county, and people just don't know what, you know, and most of that comes through AOC. It initiates at Association of Oregon Counties, and the new field rep for Senator Merkley in the 5 counties, AOC District 4, is Dana Black, and her and I have already started off on a good note, and I'm very grateful for that. 2 more things that I have. The Curry County Parks Boyce Cope was shut down for 4 weeks, and I'd like to know, I don't need to know today, but I'd like to know why it was shut down, and if we compare the revenue from the previous years for, basically we're looking at December through March. I'm really puzzled by that. It's my understanding, I could be wrong, that it was not shut down in prior winters. And so a lot of lost revenue. Also, people signing in on our executive session, I want to know if there's going to be a disciplinary action on that. I need a research. As one commissioner, I'm requesting, how did that person get on? Why? How did they get the information? And is it something that we're going to respond to properly? And so those are the 2 final issues that I have. And I'd like to know if the board agrees that, yeah, we need to understand why somebody got on secretly or thought they were secretly, apparently, on that executive session, and then also why the park was shut down and the comparison loss in revenue. And I want to make sure it's for 3 years and it's, I would like to have 2 eyes on that to make sure that it's not just one person that gives us that information. So can I get board approval on that, or isn't that good information to know? Do you have?
Well, I just think Commissioner Herzog's the liaison for, I think both issues are with the same person. So, I don't know. I'd agree that you can ask him why it was shut down.
Okay.
I mean.
Does it give you concern?
Why it was shut down?
Yeah, for 4 months.
For 4 weeks, you mean?
4 months. December, January, February, March, it's been shut down. It's about to open up back up again. And if you compare it to other winters, I think you're going to find, and again, I could be wrong, you're going to find that was a lot of lost revenue, and a lot of people that were fire displaced would have stayed at that park. And in fact, when it was closed, we had 2 couples that stayed there that were displaced from Medford. And so, as you recall, I was really in opposition to that. I said, let them stay, for goodness sakes. And so, yeah.
Commissioner Herzog wants to find out and let us know. That'd be great.
Well, I'm all in favor of keeping it open. My wife and I just did a camping trip from Brookings to Harris Beach, and it was packed. So I know that the parks are something you can do during COVID. So we got the Parkos, we're going to open up April 1st, and then it's my wish is to keep it running all year long, and because I think it's viable. It's a nice park, and you can camp still with COVID. So,
But you would agree that it appears that we lost a lot of revenue in those 4 months.
yeah, well,
There's got to be a reason.
I have no
I assume
idea,
there's a
but I'm going to work my tail off to keep it open year round.
Yeah, but I'm talking about how did we get here? That I don't want to sometimes in the national media they go, well, we'll just make sure it doesn't happen again, but they don't really, especially if it's on the far fringe left, they never really have to be held accountable. They just go, well, we don't have to answer to that. And
I would imagine everything.
I'm asking for a specific answer. Why was a park closed down, and how long? And if it's accurate, for all I know, it's been open the last month. I don't think so. But we lost a lot of revenue, and there has to be an explanation. That's why we're here as commissioners. That's all I have.
I think the answer is COVID. Everything is, that's the...
Well, I think we need to research that before we make any assumptions. You just mentioned Harris Beach State Park. How long has it been open up? 2 months since the wintertime? And we were open completely through COVID until the previous camp hosts were ousted. So COVID was never an issue at Boyce Cove. I want to know what the issues are. We lost a lot of revenue. This county can't afford to do that. Maybe there's a logical explanation that I'm completely unaware of. I don't know.
I'll report back next meeting.
Thank you. That's all I have, Board. You're next, Commissioner Herzog.
I'm good.
Today is the first day of spring. Saturday was the first day of spring. So that's a good sign. No, that's all I have, guys. Thank you. So it is 12. It is 1:30. So Director Ricker, you had mentioned, we could at least go through a little bit of executive session. So we're going to close this general meeting, and we're going to go back to the agenda. The first item is 192.66028, to consider the employment of a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent. Council, I don't need to read off the other four, do I?
I think you do. If we're going to, my understanding is we're going to go into executive session now, recess executive session for the workshop, and then go back into exec session after the workshop, and then come back to the general meeting. So technically what we're doing now is going into exec session. I'd list all the reasons. One question I had for you, one of the reasons we put on was, I think, D, to discuss real property transactions. And I think that was something that you and I were working on, but I don't have any, unless we just want to tell the board the details.
But I'm not sure if you and I are reading that right, because I don't have any information on what that, Director 11D, do you have anything on that?
It's 11C.
Yeah, it's 11C. That was submitted by Council Huddle.
Excuse me.
I think.
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would read that too, and we'll talk about it in exec session.
Okay, so, great, thank you. I appreciate
But
that.
read the list of all the reasons we're going into exec
Okay, 11B, consider information of records exempt from public records, 192.6602F. 2, consider information of records that are exempt by law from public inspection. 11C, 192.6602E, to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. Yes, I'm sorry, guys, I got C and D mixed up. 11D, 192.6602B, to consider the dismissal of disciplining of or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent who does not request an open hearing.
Also, there should be H on there, which would be to discuss litigation or matters likely to be filed.
E, you mean?
Well, sorry, you're using agenda items. I'm using executive session statutory 192.6602H. If that's agenda item 11E, that is correct.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. You had H correct.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
All right, then I think we are in, exec session, and JJ, you're going to change the toast.
Recess, general meeting, March 24th, 2021.